week number 12. We're going to find the conclusion to it as we have just 2 weeks remaining. My name is here with Senkola. My name is Vicious here with Senkola. And I got to say, we were thinking about this all weekend long. We've had so many Capcom Pro Tour events pretty much back to back to back to lead us into the final 2 weeks of Street Fighter League. We're trying to figure out who's going to stay fine within the line of playoffs and who will get sent home to pretty much sit on the sidelines and pretty much cheer on the rest of the squads. As it stands right now, we have 4 teams ready here to compete, and it's been quite the journey. So far, we have some of the most prolific names in Street Fighter history, not even just in the world of Street Fighter, but in Street Fighter 5. We're looking to see who's going to be staying alive this week. Yo, Senkola, what can we tell the folks at home in regards to what to expect here for this week's Street Fighter League?
I can tell you right now that things are hot. They're in contention. All these teams, most of these teams I should say, in the qualification zone are so close, whether it be 40 points, 5 points, or even just near 0 points away to stay in the qualification zone. For some of these teams, they need as many points as possible. I mean, all these teams need as many points as possible as we went through the tryouts, as we went through the draft picks, and now we are deep dish in the league season as we enter the playoffs, where we're only going to have 5 teams, 5 seats, to see who is going to be the strongest team in the grand finals, and their victory is going to come to being the winner and being the W, being the team that leads the charge for Japan to face off against the EU and US. But I'm getting ahead of myself because today we have the Nagoya Ultra Body Star going up against Good 8 Squad, 2 top-tier teams. I mean, actually, all the teams out here in this top 4 are going to be top-tier teams.
Yeah, that's right.
But they're only a few points away. I mean, they're only a couple points away. I keep drilling this home because it feels like all these teams are, even more so than previous leagues, previous times, so hotly contested and contention for points right now. It's anybody's game in terms of seeding or positioning.
In regards to how many games are left to be played, right, you have Nagoya Ultra Body Star, Saishunkan Seoul Kumamoto, as well as V6 Plus FAV Gaming that are still threatened to drop down to 6th place because Gyogun, as a matter of fact, the differential between them getting into it would be pretty much 5 points at this rate. Anybody of those teams can still do it with that much on the line. You already know there's going to be a lot of pressure. 8 million yen, first getting 5 million, second place getting 2 million, and third getting 1 million in their pockets. And as Senkola had mentioned, these guys are fighting to make it to the big dance of Capcom Cup to face off against the other champions as well to become the best in the world for Street Fighter League. And as we get started with Yamato and Hameko popping open the Red Bulls, I'll tell you what, right now, this is something to really focus on. In ranks 3, 4, 5, and 6, there is not too big of a difference. The game differential is not too far apart. This is going to be one of the deciding factors going forward.
Absolutely. You know, all these teams need as many points as possible. It feels like every match is an anchor match because everything matters. And even if you're not playing, you're still in contention with the other teams. You're still competing with the other teams because some of these other teams are waiting in the wings, hoping that you don't get as many points as possible. I know Conflict Detonation is praying for the downfall of every team that comes through to possibly have a shot, but they may not be able to. They may have to stop right now. They may be on the wings. Itsuka is out, but they're playing spoiler out here as much as possible too as well. But today we have the Nagoya Ultra Body Star and Good 8 Squad. Good 8 Squad sitting on the away side, but they're no stranger to the danger. In fact, we're going to take a look at that team, at the Goodest 8 Squad right here, starting off the charts, the Hiroshima Predator himself, Gachikun, with that sick Rashid play, proving that character is still top tier out here. Right behind to stay fine is a Cosmic Boxer himself, Pugera, getting second at this week's World Warrior event, only to Tokido. And then after that, the next gen warrior, the EVO online and offline champion with that Colleen play, Kawano. Last but not least is the man that made the right pack with the Wind Devil, utilizing that dictatorship. That is Dogura with that Bison. We talk about this Good 8 Squad. They love it up in their name. They're in the top position, only 20 points away from Nobiism Gaming, but still super strong and super dominant, just like last season.
At this point, so long as they have points to spare, I think they'll be just fine because they're going over right now against the Nagoya Ultra Body Star, who needs all the points that they can get. Akira as their captain with lightning speed coming in with Kami with a very impressive win record as well, backed up by the ever-evolving legend Daigo Umehara with that patented play from that Guile. Of course, if that doesn't work out, you still have the attack-heavy tank that is Fudo with both Poison and Armika if need be. Then, of course, still waiting to see what he's all about. It is Nagoya's White Omen, Narikun, with that Akira. We've talked about the amount of points needed. Nagoya Ultra, again, with 260, pretty much tied in the realm of playoff spot with 2 other teams, nearly 3 other teams, and this is going to be a very big breaking point for them. This is going to be the deciding week of whether or not they'll make it into playoffs. They need this in order to pretty much stay alive and stay afloat with the rest of the team. But with something like Good 8 Squad and this roster, the away set, this is going to be quite the challenge. Dogura with Bison first, Pugera with Balrog second, and Gachikun with Rashid Kawano taking a seat on the bench. Does that surprise you at all, Sinkola?
Not really. I like this lineup. All these characters do well against the characters that you're going to see from Nogoro Ojabody Star overall. It's going to force out some difficult positions from the side of the likes of Akira. From the side, actually, I think Akira might be one of the best picks out here because he deals with the Kami pick, deals with Bison, things like that very well. However, if you're Daigo with your Guile, if you are the likes of Fudo with your Poison, we're going to be situated and settled. It's going to be difficult because all these characters on the side of Good 8 Squad do fantastic. So it's going to come down to the player versus player, I think. Overall, though, Good 8 Squad has been strong, not only because of the characters, but the players have been, their pedigree has been fantastic. I already just mentioned that Pugera getting second at the Warrior event. Gachikun was up there too as well, doing a lot of work. So these players are also backed up outside of the league too as well, staying solid. And we're going to have to see what Nogoro Ojabody Star brings up to the table. It looks like Fudo coming up with the Mika first. We'll see some robbery.
It's going to be... It's going to be pretty interesting to see. I think having the Armika pick specifically for Bison is going to be a pretty good deal. I know that there was a little bit of reservation from the side of Hamiko, thinking that, Fudo might have to play off against Pugera. But considering where they're currently at in their away roster, right, Gachikun being in the anchor, I think you would need somebody in the longer set to take down someone like Gachikun, right? I think you were talking about this earlier. I think you were talking about it over on your analysis for the World Warrior event. The way that Gachikun had been playing, he's playing as if the character was never been nerfed. Like, he still puts his character on the map in a very confident manner, and this character's toolkit overall is enough to contend against the big boys. With the demeanor that Gachikun has, being in the anchor position, there's no doubt in my mind that a short 2 out of 3 set would not suffice. Having that extra game just might be the buffer. So sending in Fudo first with that Armika against someone like Dogura, who hasn't played in a while, I think makes sense.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the Mika pick does really well against Bison. Some of the times where you're able to put that character in the corner, you save up that EX bar for the EX Peach corner push. You put that character in the blender, and all he really has in terms of reversal that you have to worry about as Mika is the 3-frame. Yes, you can V-shift, but we've seen the baits. And for this season, we talk about like nerfs and buffs and things like that. Mika's got some decent buffs. I don't think it really puts on those top spots, but it helps Fudo's playstyle. That crouch speed kick being confirmable definitely helps out in the neutral. Even though the neutral is going to be better for the side of Bison, that crouch speed kick is something that Bison's going to have to watch out for. If you whiff a down forward fierce, you will get caught in the crouch speed kick into the EX Peach, into that corner carry, where the blender will start, and everybody blends. It will be on Dogura to stop the ridiculousness that could come from Mika. The idea of command grab, because sometimes Fudo doesn't even go for the command grab. He plays upon the idea of getting that grip to do it. He plays upon the idea of, I might go for the grip, I might go for the command grab or the throw, and that pieces people up. They get counter hit and they get put up in these bad situations continuously. So we'll have to see what Dogura does on defense. And with Bison, again, it takes a lot of work with this character to be defensive.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that you have, although not on pretty much the character-specific side of things, I think having V-shift is going to be a very, very difficult thing for Fudo kind of contest against, right? Most grapplers kind of suffer with this new mechanic, and I think Dogura had utilized this V-shift mechanic very, very well. I think he's definitely a man of hard work. He's definitely been to the lab on a low-key kind of effort. He's never been one to really like exemplify how much of a lab monster he truly is, but for sure with the amount of games he's played in Street Fighter, in the world of Street Fighter, in fact in the world of fighting games, he's very much so well versed to take on something like Fudo. So this is going to be like almost a grand finals matchup, if you will, at any other sort of tournament, right? So taking a look at the stats though, Dogura being 8 out of 9, 89% victory win rate, right? He's not quite the top point earner, right? He's just shy of Fudo, actually. Funny enough, he has 100 points, but Fudo, 7 out of 11, still garnering 120 points. Reason being, I think he's been in the anchor position a lot more often than not, and also does have 2 more games over Dogura in terms of games played. So There was a lot of opportunity there for him to kind of widen that gap. But as it stands right now, Dogura, again, having the better record overall against Fudo. I'm very excited to see how this is going to play out, because this is going to be avoid the grip at all costs.
Objective, survive. Don't get caught in the corner or you will explode. Dogura saying this is so important. Later half these games are so important. He would like to win to keep the good vibes. Fudo, though, said Dogura perceives not as a strong player, but I'd like to see him as a very good and strong player right now. Let's see who's the strongest in this first match of the day. The Goyo Oja Body Star going up against Good 8 Squad. Let's get it.
Already with the microperformance, you know, Dogura actually scooped it up despite getting punished. That's going to be just fine, because look at this. Does have Fudo's back against the wall. There we go. There's another opening for Dogura. Able to punish the body splash and still finding his way out of the corner. Empty jump low. V-shift out of there to reset the situation. Fudo needed it earlier. What is going on? There's a lot of mistakes coming out from the side of Fudo.
Yeah, you see this. See if he can right the ship, puts himself in the corner. Again, drops that B-skill, absorption. Trying to get the jump in. Nice block. But you're caught in the corner. Let me see that defense. Dogura picked up with the 4 fears. Stays in front, meet him into the EX, connects. If Fudo right the ship, one more hit will do it. He'll get up that crouching kick. We talked about that button being way more confirmable, being way more of a threat. And Fudo lets it connect and gets the first W.
A little bit of a family situation from the mind of Fudo, really. Dogura not able to get the most of it. And what's wild about that is not a single grip to really put the mix or the layers up just yet. It's been majority of it primarily strikes from the side of Fudo, and he's doing just fine without it. In a matter of seconds, I feel like the grips should be coming, but still reluctant to do it. The V reversal lands. Fudo now in control, still stopping the Akuma Devil from moving out of position. And this
There
is
it is.
stun. Nearly done. We have one more sequence to go, and he's got it. No scaling. You already know Fudo is in control.
He is owning this man so when he puts up in the corner over and over again and utilizing that EX bar to get that win. And we talk about the threat of the grip, the idea of the grip, the idea of the command grab that this character is predicated on. You are thinking about so many options in the corner, especially if you have no reversal. There's not much you can really do besides finding innate defense like jumping out and finding minute situations or view reversaling. But Fudo getting that command grab at that last hit, at that stun. Dogura thinking about it. What does he need to do different? One of the most simple things is stay outside the corner, but that's easier said than done. And he jumped in situations that Fudo's putting him in. Lands that B skill.
That was so smart for Fudo. Trying to take on mid-air after his turn was over. And he got hit by that standing leg kick, right? That caused him to get juggled out into the air. Dogura had actually committed to the string. Hence why you see Fudo getting that big punish, which led to all this.
Nice.
Command grab. Triggering against the V reversal. But now it's Dogura who's in the awkward position. Just one touch away. Empty jump low. Actually, that was kind of a fake out. Fudo pressed the button in the air, had it whiffed, and Dogura just wasn't ready for the come down.
Set point right here for Fudo. The scramble situations are definitely working out for him. He's out of there with the EX wingless. Trying to catch the dash in right there. Got to be very careful. Dashes can be easily challenged by the side of Bison. See that purple stuff. Hit that button immediately. Runs the EX as a whip punch against the Fears. Now caught up in the corner. The 3Ps. It's the command grab. This is how he wins. Immediate situation. Throw.
Could do it again.
Stuns rising, one more touch. Oh, that chase that on the V-ship. You just dying tired. You're dead. Off the backboard. That 4 Fears had more to take.
He was just getting himself ready for takeoff, but the flight is delayed, no longer needed to go from here to there. Fudo taking it down 2-0 against Dogura, and I gotta say, we talked about V-Shift being a little bit problematic for some of the grapplers, but if you have someone like Fudo in control, if Fudo is a pilot, he understands what it takes to really soar above the competition. That was really well played from Fudo, knowing full well that Dogura was going to exercise that option to potentially get out of harm's way, especially with that much on the line. You are that much more at risk when you are stunned, right? Or when you're close to stun. You have like you're inclined to kind of go for the more obvious defensive option, and Fudo definitely took his advantage of that.
I like them sending up Fudo with the Mika. You know, it's one thing that I kind of maybe forget a little bit is that he does have that Mika, but even more so how he plays against the likes of Bison, against the characters that maybe have a better time in neutral overall, how he puts you in scramble situations and makes you panic. It puts you in a bad position where you're like, wait, how did I get here? A lot of this came from the aerial play that we saw from Fudo. The splashes, maybe not always happening the right sort of way, but he would switch it up with a jumping light kick, cross up, you know, go for the splash, go for the jump fierce, mix up these aerial options, and again, Bison not having the best time for those anti-airs. In fact, you look at the screen right here, a big donut on the side of Dogura, not able to stay solid against the aerial approach, missing 3 of those. We didn't really see a crouch fierce, we didn't really see a hell attack. I felt like that was kind of the name of the game, and putting on the stress, putting on a lot of that mental work on the side of Dogura, getting dusted and done. Right there, Fudo gets one on the board for his team.
It's a little tough when you can change your trajectory at the pretty much split second with the body splash. And there were a lot of moments where Fudo, anytime he did take to the skies, they were at awkward angles. So although one of the numbers say that he didn't anti-air, that Dogura didn't anti-air, he did get a punish on the body splash. So we'll definitely take that for compensation. Other than that, numbers are so low because it was mostly a grounded game, for one thing. Number two, it was all Fudo. And that's just how it went down. Fudo was in control majority of the matches. So there's been a giant dozen donut party courtesy of Fudo. So thank you for that. That's 10 points thus far for Nagoya Oja Body Star, and a very, very impressive start. Pugera coming up pretty much next as the second player. Not only that, but second place coming up a little bit short from his battle against Tokido in the World Warrior event. If I'm not mistaken, though, Pugera had made that big reset happen against Tokido and played pretty well up until the final moment where he had the incorrect guess whether or not it's throw or a strike. And we've seen how explosive that can be. You could kind of get similar situations with someone like Cammy. Like, Cammy's walk speed is tremendous, hence why Akira is going up next to maybe try to finesse the boxer in the footwork.
This was, I mean, it used to be a matchup that boxers would cite that would be problematic. This season, I'm curious to see how things are going to go down because while her aerial tools haven't changed, the addition of V-Shift and V-Break definitely help out Boxer. The fact that if you whiff Fierce, you know, whiff Crouch Mini Kick, those are punishable buttons now, and lower health means more damage on the side of Boxer. And we know that he deals that out in dividends to make it the end. The likes of Pugera, we've seen him switch up his positioning, and this is one of the things that makes him one of the best boxers in the business. He knows where to stand. He's always positioning himself, whether to get that charge or to find the right anti-air, whether it be the EX upper, the medium punch, or just to be in that right range for the V-shift punish that we typically see against a dive kick. So Akira's going to have that. He's going to have to hide that intention of what he wants to do when he gets that jump in, but he's never been able to do so. It's hard to read what Akira wants to do. He's so fast-paced. Lightning speed definitely lives up to his name. Lands these dive kicks at these awkward angles. He'll wake up TK dive kick, which you don't expect, and he's difficult to pin down. So I'm curious to see who's going to take it in this match. Go either way between the two.
Yeah, we've kind of highlighted a lot about Akira's tendencies to mix somebody up airborne, but I think he also has a very, very dignified ground game that keeps a lot of players guessing, right? I think one of those players being Pugera, it's going to be very difficult to have him second guess what he's doing in neutral because he's been so well-rounded in regards to fundamentals. He's been fundamentally sound for years and years and years. I'm very interested to see how Akira is going to open up Pugera's neutral game. We've seen how he progressed throughout the entirety of the World Warrior series. I think his neutral game is phenomenal. I think, for lack of better word, it's phenomenal. I think, you know, his utilization of crouching medium punches, just the middle buttons in general, he knows the ranges as to where the last bit of the hitbox is to catch you slipping, and it's so scary. Even also, he understands how much activity some of these normals have. He'll have so many opportunities to counter poke you successfully on the startup of your moves or at the tail end of your moves that it's so scary to shake him up into pressing the wrong button at the wrong time.
Absolutely. Pugera also having fantastic win record in this league right now. 5 out of the 8 games that he has played, he has won, and he has stayed solid. In fact, I think the last time he played, he lost to Bonchan's Luke. But again, that warrior position that he had this weekend showcases how strong he is. He's been pretty consistent. I think he's shown up in another top 8 previously, but we see him in a lot of top 8s just in general. I feel like he really exploded back last year into World Open. He's always been a strong competitor, but I feel like that was the time where people had to literally look at him and say he is a strong competitor. Akira Also, not doing too bad out here. 4 out of 9 games that he has played, he has won. Last time we saw him, he lost to Fujimura's Luke, so he'll definitely want the W today. He definitely wants as many points as possible. We talked about how close things are in terms of contention. The Goyo Ultra Body Star would love to have a 40 bomb to get real close and personal up to Good 8 Squad in terms of leaderboard. That'd be only 20 points away for that play. And then they'd only need one more good run to surpass Good 8 Squad if things go bad for Good 8 Squad in their games.
Yeah, right. I think having a big 40 bomb would really shake up things considerably, at least for the other teams, right? All things considered, if they score a 40 bomb here, they're tied up with Shinobiism Gaming, but it also prevents Good 8 Squad going into their next week's battles. So anything can really happen, especially at this point of the game where you can see the top pretty much get knocked off of the ladder and down below with such a close point race as well. Taking a look at Pugera's record overall, you were talking about it, 5 out of 8 wins and 90 points. Nothing to really shake a stick at. It's pretty impressive considering what had happened the games prior. Pugera actually suffered a loss, and the same with Akira. Nagoya Ultra Body Star is already looking to rewrite history with Fudo taking that first W. I'm wondering if that momentum will carry over to Akira and if that will spell anything different against Pugera, because thus far Pugera has been playing out of his mind. I wonder if he will still carry that performance he had from Saturday night, or I guess, when was it, Sunday? I don't know. One of those days, one of the days on the weekend. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, going to the interview real quick. Akira said, I'm really close to Pugera. You know, same age. We talk on Discord. They said that they actually talked last time. He is one of the players that he respects. Pugera says last time he lost against Miyahara-san, the Guile. This time he would like to win against the Cammy that's presented. And I'm definitely excited to see Cammy being back on the screen. A lot of these players, just in general in Street Fighter 5, have kind of put that character to the side, or some of them have retired and not, you know, play just in general. And unfortunately, we don't get to see Cammy as often unless it's Akira and a few other, you know, people here and there. So it's always great to see how these matchups play out, especially with the new changes to these characters. I also think Cammy's still a threat. You just can't whiff those buttons. And someone like Akira definitely won't be whiffing too often. However, one whiff you get hit, it's going to be a lot of damage on the side. We've talked about how Pugera is always positioning himself, always having a charge, and as you put it, always having these buttons at the right range, always hitting the tip when need be. And we've seen these meaty dash punches also lock these characters down even on wake up. So I feel like he's always aggressive, always building a bar, always having bar utilized to threatening the approach of the EX dash punch. I'm curious to see how the grounded game and aerial approach is going to happen on the side of Akira. And I'm curious to see who's going to be taking these points. Remember, if Nagoya Ultra Body Stars, if they get that 20 bomb right here already, that'll be a big lead for them and put a lot of weight on the shoulders of their opposing team.
We'll see. I think, you know, if they manage to secure this, it actually does a great job for the rest of the teams to potentially catch up against Good 8 Squad, limiting them to at least 25, right? But it really depends. I'd still think there's a two-way street, or not a two-way street, sorry. There's a two-pronged opportunity here for Nagoya Ultra Body Star, right? They could limit Good 8 Squad to 25, or they could potentially net themselves 30 points, right? Technically, there's a three-way. If you actually, a three-way kind of street, if you actually happen to get maybe a 40-point ball game, right? If you're shooting for the stars, you have a three-way opportunity here. I think with this kind of play style, I think with the current roster that they have, I think it's very much so possible against Good 8 Squad.
Absolutely. Strong teams out here. A lot of pedigree. And the likes of Akira definitely going to want to do so. Pugera will not make it easy. The two facing off in this second match. He's going to take it.
Ooh. Slightly off the center. The body of Balrog trying to go in with the hooligan into the dive kick. Akira, being the speedster that he is, again, keeping Pugera on his toes. The backdash and the forward dash pretty much getting clipped afterwards. But still, that's not going to bother Pugera too much. Fighting out of the corner, getting a couple of blows already. That dash straight, finding the mark at least enough to get out of the corner. One of the biggest things about Balrog is not only does he hit pretty hard, but his screen carry potential is ridiculous. We're just talking about it right now. Look at that.
Skill extension. Trying to find an opening here is Akira. Medium kick, caught him coming in with a medium punch. Had him starting with the medium kick. Thought he could take that turn back, but just like that, it might be a wrap. He's caught in the corner. Jump light kick. It's the side switch. He put him in the corner. This might be good for Pugera, the side switch. Nothing off that light activation, off the dash punch. To make the comeback. He's got a lot of bar to utilize. At least one bar to do a lot of damage on the likes of Cammy.
Ooh. The trade-off! Oh, that's too far away. I wonder if he could have used another normal to counter the medium punch. Dear God! Ooh. The confirm from the speedster spending so much cash. He wants to make sure puts Cammy out on a good date. That was really well done from Akira. The standing medium punch counter hit. Explosive start thus far for the young speedster.
Man, what a buffer got in that distance to the check and challenge. The EX dash punch. It's risky because you might get hit with the fierce, but right now, Pugera putting him in the corner round, start utilizing that B skill, dive kick, switch up positioning just to deal with that dive kick, but on the ground, Akira is throwing down. B skill, chase down, it's gonna be a punish. Able to call it out in time. Dashing with the medium, knocking on the door.
Nice whiff punish there on the dive kick, thinking that EX would be right at the tip of the heels, or the toes I should say, but still, yeah, as soon as that got punished, it was all Pugera.
Between the two, dashing in already getting aggressive as Akira. Back that buffer game. And the EX dive kick, but the blocks here from Pugera staying solid. He's caught in the corner. Has OP Barty was game. In terms of being out of situations, he'll just find that hit. But back in the corner you go. Spiral arrow for the Oki. Challenge though from Pugera. Dashing, getting counter hit, 3-piece with a dash punch. And again, with that fierce, you're gonna get hit. We talked about that button being more whip punishable, but they are slugging it out. And he didn't walk back too far like that to get the shimmy situation. Went that far for that super.
Forward throw to start things off. When you get a forward throw with the corner as Cammy, you have a lot more opportunity to keep Oki alive, and just like that big stun for Akira. He wasn't even done yet. Had he survived, Critical Art would definitely back it up and definitely take the game. 1-0, already starting things off in a very, very strong manner, a very quick manner from these games in general. Akira and Pugera, they've been slugging it out pretty much round for round, pound for pound. They've been almost dead even thus far. We'll see if Pugera has the rebuttal in the opening round of game number 2, or if Akira will maybe kind of pump the brakes and play more of a slower ground game. Who knows? Maybe he's in anticipation for Pugera, but we'll see how that plays out. So far, Pugera being the one, the initiator for the dash straight right at the beginning. Trying to play the counter poke game, does dash up, and Akira not ready for the check.
Nice, deals with the fierce, the whip punish right there. Was aware, and there's that fierce. Doug, we see more of that fierce. The express purpose of dealing with the medium punch buffers that Akira's presenting. Walking to the corner, not getting him that B skill. Dashing away to stay in play, but here's Akira. As soon as Pugera backs off, you see Akira dashing in. You have to be careful. Cruising challenge, raw DP just does it. Akira though losing too much health in his exchanges now.
Oh. There's been so many, there we go, -4. Just gonna punish on that, try to get a delayed tech with that roundhouse, but still catching the movement backwards is Pugera, hence the crouching light kick. And already getting the first round, finding that rebuttal. We talked about this earlier. Does get the rebuttal in the first round of game 2, but the big jump in uncontested from Pugera, a little bit too shy off the mark to even try to anti-air it. Does get the trade against the dive kick, but now it's Pugera, side switch, but still Akira on point and getting the anti-air. No neutral jumps here for free, and Pugera is backing off. Big.
But forgot right there with that medium. My God, my man is grizzly with it. Mauling this character, mauling Pugera. And it feels like whoever gets the lead is the one that's going to take that victory. It feels like trying to get the jump in situation. Pugera not being able to deal with the dive kick wasn't deep enough to continue the combo. Anti with the medium, EXDP. And Akira putting himself on set point with that throw. There you go, Akira. As soon as he gets aerial with it, as soon as he's got the buffers on the deck, it's hard for someone even like Pugera to come through and stay solid. But round start challenges the dash in and puts him in the corner with that throw.
Oh, and that was so smart. Yeah, avoiding the corner entirely, utilizing that view reversal early. Does have enough life to build up another one, but now it's up to Pugera to keep himself out of danger in this corner. He's slugging it out. So many dash straights finding the mark, and the anti-air still intact. With the amount of life deficit that Akira has, he has to be the one that pushes forward. But Pugera, will he settle in the corner, or will he try to sneak in a couple of dashes? Well, he's getting dash straights, counter hit. Continue with the combo after. One touch will be enough for Pugera. He's got it. He's got a full picnic full of them. He's got an entire basket full of knuckle sandwiches. And guess what? He hand delivered it to Akira. Make sure to give this man a 5-star rating and tip for your delivery.
And the tip too? Man, Pugera coming through.
Oh yeah, that was
I like him
delivery
going
service.
to the air right there. Gratuity. And this is gratuitous violence from the side of Pugera. We see a lot of these dash punches coming through and hit. He goes to the air-to-air right there. If you can't challenge him on the ground, you know what's going down, we take to the skies. And I like him switching up what he does because that area approach has been so problematic. We even see Akira trying to sneak in the hooligans, trying to get the command grab or the side switch with it, trying to switch up even more what he does. Pugera finding more answers. And Akira might actually have to slow down a little bit because he's running into too much in these round start situations. He's losing too much health. As the round starts, he's running the dash punch and the lights and things like that. Pugera's like, hey, I'll check these dashes for free. You're speeding up, I'm going to slow you down. So Akira is going to have to go maybe to like a walk down pressure because honestly, Cammy's got some of the best walk down pressure in the business. Light kick, medium kick, and things like that, and then hide the buffers behind that. You might have to see that come to fruition and maybe space himself out a little bit differently. Let those -4s get punished.
Yeah, and I think walking Pugera down is not going to be a big threat or not going to be like a totally detrimental to your game plan and what you're trying to accomplish, which is pretty much lock down Pugera in the corner, because eventually, if you keep walking forward, you might force Pugera to give you a bad dash straight, right? And then look at this. Forward throw now, already enforcing the point. We're talking about bullying this much. And look, you already have him into the corner. What happens now? One mistaken jump in, and it does get anti-aired, but still bouncing right back into the fray. Akira has not let go of the gas. Ooh, forced to this time.
Ooh, caught the V ship. I like that. Flips him low. Hits the toes. Leading with the V or leading with the dash punch once again. V reversal in that situation. Out of the corner. But not out of options. There's a lot of bar at the bottom for Akira to exercise in terms of the dive or the dive kick, but that'll do it. The walk up throw, the dash and throw, I should say. Pugera on set point.
Man, when we were thinking that Akira was in full control in the driver's seat the whole lot, he had nothing but control with Pugera, the life lead as well, but look at how much damage he's suffering, blow after blow. Pugera has found all the right buttons against Akira thus far, and still not able to outmaneuver in the ground game. It's Pugera actually pulling some sneaky stuff of his own, committed to the target combos as well. There's a big bust out and a big crush counter.
Puts him in the corner, V reversal. Dash in off the medium, almost getting that stun, trying to get the back throw to get it done. The challenge for Pugera, B skill. One more good touch, tap will do it like that. B shifts away, stay away from danger. B reversal again, defensive options exercised by Pugera. Like B shift. Ooh, double dashes in, but the challenge on the dash you may not pass. Pugera taking that victory, catching these dashes and speeding up too much is Akira, and being slowed down is the name of the game. Those challenges off those jabs were how we find the finish from the side of Pugera. Man, good stuff for him to be able to keep up pace like that, pick up when he needs to, and slow down when he needs to.
He was trying to face off in a street race. I gotta say, Pugera was playing in reverse. He was backing up. He was backdashing all the way through the neighborhood. Then you see Akira trying to catch up, and you see Officer Balrog checking him with a big stop sign that is the dash straight. It's been a very much so a cat and mouse game as soon as Pugera got the life lead, or at least he had the life lead, retained the corner pressure. As soon as he let go of the corner, he was out of there. He didn't want anything to do. He didn't want to shake his hand. He wanted to pretend they weren't friends anymore. That was actually the dirtiest thing in that gameplay. But the fact still remains, Pugera getting 10 points for the Good 8 squad. Pretty significant at that. Good 8 squad now at 330 points. A little bit of extra cushioning. But with that in mind, going forward, that means the potential to get 30 points for either Nagoya Oja or Good 8. Taking a look at the stats, we talked about the anti-air capabilities. Well, it's just that difficult to get consistent anti-airs against someone with a dive kick. That's just how the cookie crumbles. 5 out of 11, 45%. Not too bad, just shy of 50%. Not bad at all. Taking a look down below, EX uppercuts, the bust outs from Akira has been amazing. 2 for 2, 100%. Mwah. Excellent. Couldn't ask for anything better. Taking a look down below, though, the strike throw game, a little bit suspicious from both ends. All things considered, both characters can really make your health melt. I think one more so than the other. Balrog. But that's just how it goes. The strike throw game is very, very difficult. 10 points. Not to Gryffindor, but to Good 8 squad.
We leave with something around the block, you know what I'm saying? So, Good 8 squad at least going home with something, and they may be going with more. Depending on how things play out in this final match, we have Gachikun, we have Rashid, and I think we're going to see the likes of Umihara. I think we're going to see the beast come through to try to feast. because we've seen that match happen so many times in CPT. We've seen it happen so many times in the years and years of Street Fighter. We're going to be seeing it here once again for the anchor position. I love seeing this bout. Things have changed a little bit between the characters, but between the players, we've seen them adjust, and it feels like it's almost even between the two players when they meet each other, either in ranked or they meet each other at tournament and things like that. Gachikun, one of the most technical machines, if not the most well-rounded machine in the business, but there's got to be something to say for Daigo, even beyond his pedigree, even beyond his legendary status. How well he does. He is the Batman. He is the Batman of Street Fighter, and he does so well in longer sets. You pointed this out. You have to have somebody that does well in longer sets. Gachikun does well in longer sets, but guess who also does? And I think you said this previously in Street Fighter League, Daigo does.
Oh yeah, that's just a proven fact. Like he's been like pretty much master of like the first to 10, right? He's been a part of so many Kamado Michis, and so many of them have been proven in his favor, even outside of Street Fighter V, right? There's been so many infamous bouts where they've challenged players, well-renowned players, champions even, have challenged the wits of Daigo Umehara and have failed in the long set. So he's also proven it on the stream. He's shown the work ethic, he's shown the grind day in and day out. So there's no one as studious, I feel like, as Daigo. He may not be as talented, but he definitely puts in the hard work, as much hard work as he does in comparison to everybody else in the league.
100%. I mean, it's hard because I think a lot of these players, when they're facing off against people that you know that you're going to face off against, you can do like a lot of preliminary study. But Daigo, when he gets down to business, we've seen him already reach the top 8 of a World Warrior event. That is Japan. That's one of the most stacked ones. He can still get it done too as well. They still have one more to play. But the likes of Daigo, he's prepared. He is on game. And I think he's really found his style with Gao. I feel like he's gotten better about being aggressive when need be, utilizing more of the buttons and adjusting to how the projectiles give more bar to the other person, and utilizing his bar differently too as well. It's not just, I'm going to close out with CA. It's also, I'm going to switch up what I do with the EX. Either way, we're going to see who's going to take it. It's a last match, possibly between the team. The anchor match, the Beast, Daigo, versus the Capcom Cup champion, Gachikun.
Although tied in points, the opening tactics are going to be different. Gachikun, he's looking to at least exemplify some of the tactics he's saved up for Guile. And as for Daigo, again, looking at the current matchup he's had against Gachikun, he doesn't have the best win record, but obviously he's looking to take that W today. We'll see in the final games before Nagoya Ultra Body Star and the Good 8 squad. Here we go. Already off to a fantastic start. Rashid being able to do the things he does the best, carry you to the corner and dish out tons of damage. But now it's up to Daigo to fight out again.
He's been able to do so year after year. He's got many ways to play. If he gets that EX flash kick, he'll definitely get some distance with it. Will it happen though? Will it land? He's looking for a crush, or he's looking for a nice little confirm off the light or medium. Like that distance that we see from Gachikun. Nice little jab against the back fist. Here's the activation. Had to do it on block, but we'll push him back to midstream with that maybe boom. Air throw.
Down. So tough. It's so tough if you're Gachikun to close out this match. I'm looking at, okay, well, not as difficult as previously implied. Not quite dead yet. Okay, I was gonna say, if Daigo has that much meter left, you better close it out soon, because one boom will seal the deal, I find. So, very well done from Gachikun, not losing his cool.
Love using that meter kick. Finding something against the back fist and the 4 fierce buttons, the crush control buttons right there from Gao is so important. I remember players having to do so, being like, man, these buttons are pressuring my character. Love seeing that the likes of Rashid's player. Gets a crush though, Daigo, as soon as I say it, talk about that button. So let me show you what it does. Anti-air right there, denying that jump heavy kick, back to mid-screen, wait for the dashing, crouch fears. No B-skill though.
Oh my god,
crush count.
And the forward throw now. And I love the whiff punish there from Gachikun. Keeping his composure. Making sure that Daigo pays for all of his mistakes. A little bit of a shimmy step backwards from Daigo. You can kind of see him teasing the idea that maybe he's holding the charge, maybe he's not. And he's going to spend it.
Super.
Yeah, you know, I understand wanting to finish a plate and kind of, you know, making sure that they're dead. But I felt like maybe in that situation, he could have taken it out, but still, I totally get it. I totally get it at all times. You know, you don't want it to bite you.
Yeah. You just find the finish. There's a lot of bar on the side of Gachikun, and we've seen it takes you to the corner. Just put it, you know, getting the most amount of damage is where he's going to get access to that. You don't want to be in that situation. So preventative health right there. Back fist again, check my wrist. He's out there. As soon as he saw the EX flash, got the jump over. That's the side switch. But again, that corner push, even on block to make it drop, that's the likes of Gachikun. That's the likes of Rashid. B skills right underneath the boom. Stepping underneath. Fireball. Tag. Fierce connects against the whip button. Time for the blender.
Forward throw, create some space away from the corner. But what's the plan here for Daigo now? Man, 5-knuckle shuffle, that's what it is. Right to the face of Gachikun. Do the deactivation, the V-shift, break out of there. Negating any potential mix-up off of that.
That crush mini kick hit. V-shift, I like that different bar usage from the side of Daigo. Holds his throw though. Anybody's game. Walks out the side switch. Not getting any bite on these jumping situations, but is getting throws off the lows though.
Oh, that could have been it. He had the low. He had the low, but he didn't have the charge. Could he have gone maybe into V-trigger to extend the combo for death? But still, that's very tough to call. 10 seconds on the clock. He spins it. He spins the EX, and so does Gachikun. It's down to the final second. What a clutch call from Daigo. That crouching sequence was still in range. And he spent EX flash kick just in case to secure that would hit. That was genius, but also really unlucky for Gachikun to move forward in that instance.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the change up and the speed of booms clipped him before he can get that B skill started. And again, I like that Daigo is not just sitting on CA. He's got a different way to play. Utilize that EX bar if need be. So it's not just about getting that CA for big boy damage. It's about, if I need to spin this bar, I will definitely do so. And it puts people off their toes. You don't know what he's going to do with that bar. And that EX Sonic Boom is so fast, so hard to counteract. Daigo with the first game.
A ton of heavies being thrown around from both ends. Right, we're taking a look at how Gachikun is trying to suppress Daigo with a couple of these crouching heavy punches majority of the time, and Daigo is also trying to fish maybe on the startup and the timing that Gachikun is taken to, but it's been so ambiguous, and now it's all Daigo taking his turn back, being the enforcer, being the offensive player out of the corner. What do you do now? You can't even harass with Sonic Booms. You're still within range. Gachikun having all the right answers.
Now putting the standing fierce, but right now, here's the activation, the baby boomers, the parade of baby boomers coming through. Off the low though, B skill, flash kick. No, actually's gonna wait because he wants to get that final hit to do it for that super. He can actually go for an EX boom right here, go for a lot of options. Yep. The onus is on Gachikun to stop the obstinance. Gets caught with the crouch mini kick. Could be a chip no dip situation. Doesn't even need to do so. Catches the walk back with the crouch mini kick. Save that bar too.
You can see the frustration. You see it setting in from the side of Gachikun, actually. He wasn't really like too frustrated. It was a little bit of a fluster from his facial expressions. He wasn't too happy about that ending because he was forced. He wanted to see Daigo kind of force that critical for the chip damage. But going into the next game right now, Gachikun and Daigo pretty much dead even with meter, just about barely. But we see now Daigo willing to throw out some of the fireballs here, but we've seen Gachikun, yeah, we've seen him stuff it out with some of the heavy punches before on the startup. As to when Daigo wants to throw out some of these booms, he's still hovering within that range. And Daigo still trying to find his way out. He's stuck here. The dash!
Dashing counter it, that was so sick! Ooh, he still had the charge! Yeah, we get the knockout with the EX Sonic Boom, but there we go. Dashing, getting the light starter in the throat, caught in the corner, where Rashid does his best to put man to rest. Crouch here, trying to catch a boom before it can even come out. EX this time, the lockdown, the shimmy. Just the tech, I should say. Waits and baits! Ooh! Reeling in, that's damage on the other hand.
And that's the big call out too. Gachikun, that was, I think that was, in terms of success rate, very much so in a higher percentage, considering how much life Gachikun had. Didn't want to take that risk. Had Daigo woken up with like a back throw, I would have been very shocked.
The walk-up back throw, we finally do that. There's a Daigo special out here. We've seen the walk-up shooting could come through in terms of corner defense. Let's see. Needs, he'd like not to be there as much as possible. Sonic Boom trying to get that back fist extension. B skills underneath. Lucky call it right there. Gachikun in again. Another shimmy off that fierce. He's got the bar, but the flash kick finally gets a hit. The exhibition. Still not out of the corner just yet, though.
Man, after that stray hit, the crouching light kick, thought it was a good time to dash up. Gachikun making the right calls. D-shift break out of there again. No pressure off of the fireball, but that's going to be okay. He still has trigger left on deck, so he can set out a Haboob if need be. Or he can just go and whiff punish whatever he feels like whiff punishing. That standing heavy punch, finding the mark, pinpoint precision, tied up one game apiece, finishing it off with the critical art. Very, very confident play there from Gachikun.
I love that he's looking out for the structure, the template that Daigo has been putting out. We've seen that combination before, the low into the fierce to catch a button, like, oh, you think it's your turn? You can come in after that low button is whipped and it's done. Get got by this fierce, get got by that crush. But you see Gachikun acclimating, deliberating on how to deal with that button, how to deal with that tempo, how to deal with that setup right there. He finds a finish, and I like that he's been finding more of these shimmies, whether off a throw tech or just been able to make Daigo bite on some bad situations. Either way, Gachikun, his fierce game is fantastic.
There's been such a big detriment to Daigo's game plan, not being able to throw out these sonic booms as often as you'd like to, because of the fact that Gachikun's been occupying that space so often. And even in the counter poke game, right, you see Daigo trying to throw out some of these crouching medium punches, and it still gets stuffed out by the one normal to rule all normals. Gachikun again just forcing the point over and over again. Daigo already smothered in the corner, and now he's utilizing a different set of normals. It's the medium kicks answering. He's answering the call now.
Shooting kick, a little bit of damage here and there. Daigo with better rhythm right here, doing some forward medium kicks and things like that. Also adjusting his walk space too as well. Every so often we see him walking back, forward, air throw down the ground. You go, called it out, Daigo.
And I love that response a lot more.
Too.
Don't even let him get a jump to the started. I think having that air throw on deck can also be a huge problem for Gachikun in the corner. We'll see, again, getting closer to this corner now. Daigo finding a different rhythm all of a sudden against the spacing that Gachikun was playing at. I think it's thanks to the utilization of that medium kick. So, oh my god, with punishing the low medium kick against Gachikun. Again, this is the rhythm that Daigo needs. Gachikun is now playing catch-up against Daigo. And it's not going to be pretty if this tempo is going to be played at Guile's pace.
Absolutely. Got that bar at the bottom, closer to that super. And utilizing all the buttons of this character. We've seen everything exemplified in this match so far. Gets the crush, no super just yet. Fierce corner carry off the V skill. Quick rise, but no surprise. Daigo with the delayed jab into the super. It seals it. That's 2-1.
In very quick fashion, too. 2 rounds straight against Gachikun in a way that was unprecedented. I think in that previous round, Daigo had put one of the puzzle pieces together, and now he's riding that momentum. It's up to Gachikun to find what he needs to do to slow down this medium pressure from Daigo. That medium kick was everything to stop whatever Gachikun was trying to do. Again, Daigo couldn't throw out a couple of these sonic booms because of how slow they can be, right? You're taking a look at something that's pretty fast, like Rashid, standing heavy punch at 8 frames, even crouching heavy punch, sure, a little bit slower at 10, but even then, right, you're looking at sonic booms by default, you're looking at 10 frames. You're already looking at a slower normal than the standing heavy punch. So what do? You opt to go for something that has a little bit more speed with about just as much range at the initial point of contact. So very smart for Daigo to utilize the standing medium kick against Rashid's game plan of throwing out all these heavies.
See the forward medium kick too as well, Sobatos and things like that. All the butts have really been exemplified too as well. And I think the risk reward is getting a lot better. If, as you put out, you can't really use the sonic booms, you might get crushed with the fierce and the crouch fierce. Why not take those off the table, make the risk reward a little bit better for your situation, and that helps set up shop for your templates of your buttons to make them drop. That helps let you utilize that back fist and the forward fierce and things like that that you want to utilize that's been whip punished and hides those intentions a lot better. Daigo on game point.
See if that plays off. Again, Gachikun already changing up the strategy already against Daigo, but to be fair, man, that was actually a big Hail Mary. That down forward heavy kick, reaching from across the hat. Gachikun back on track, exactly where Gachikun needs to be with this Rashid, forcing Guile with his back towards the wall. This is tough, but still, Daigo completely unfazed. Such a big cash out with that gray life off of the throw. Sweet bad news bears. Here we go. Time for a throw? No, you do not. You do not try to Ume flash, because that's 0 for 2 against Bonchan.
I like him going for that block either way, you know, to wait and bait. Because if you would have got hit with a throw on wake up, no big deal either way. Wait and bait right there. The Daigo wants to get activated, wants to get that flash kick. Not going to do it. Push to the corner. I like this early start here for opportunities they're going for continuously. Try to put Daigo in the corner and take as much help as possible. We've seen what she can really do off the backboard. V-shift, now doing something different with the V-bar and the trade, the sweep with the feet. When kick gets a counter hit flash kick, meaty fireball. Careful though, the back fist, it was a bait the whole time. It was a ruse the whole time, Daigo.
It was. That's exactly what he needed. You know, he was thinking about it. He was setting up the sonic booms. He was setting you with a red herring. He's making sure that you are not gonna find out what happens next unless you tune in. Again, that crush counter was enough to shake the boots of Gachikun. Or so we think. This is the next episode now. We'll see here in the final round if Gachikun can get himself another W. Already off to great success with the throw.
Sonic Boom trying to answer back like that. Crouch fierce again. As soon as you see the projectile, puts that back on the table. But you gotta be careful with these other booms, these other moves that we see from the likes of Daigo. Getting crushed, trying to catch that walk back. Not trying to give too much space up this place. All that real estate is so important for God to be able to walk back, get that charge, and also utilize these fantastic normals, but nice off the medium kick. That may be the answer to Daigo's play. Techo.
Extension. Off the spinning mixer. Nope, there is a gap through that. Nice work swatting it out. Daigo does have trigger on deck. One single boom confirmed. All right, he's going to go for the block string instead. Forward throw. Now he gets to set up shop. Oh, no, the V reversal.
To make him drop.
But he runs into it. He runs into it. Oh, he ran into the boom. He jumped over the other one and instead ate a flash kick on the way down. The counterplay from Gachikun is short-sighted by the fact that the sonic boom was still there. He tried to get out. He tried to finish the combo with an eagle spike, and he ran into the sonic boom. I actually can't believe it. That was actually very lucky or super genius of Daigo to throw out the baby boomers. Oh my god.
I mean, having that option super sick, man. That is, oh man, to have those up on the screen continuously is gonna help you rule the neutral right there. And for Daigo to be so solid in that situation right after to get the flash kick anti-air, you know, maybe it wasn't planned, but for him to right the scramble, for him to be solid in the scramble situation, showcases why he is so strong, taking on like Gachikun. But man, oh man, if I'm Gachikun, look at him, salty. I'd be salty as heck. Having the right idea, but unfortunately the boom was just out for too long. But overall, the control in that match, even beyond that round going down, Daigo just felt like he had it in the bag towards the later half of things.
This is a very, very impressive bout between the two. Seeing the adaptation back and forth from Daigo and Gachikun, I think that was just a very, very unfortunate mishap from Gachikun that kind of forced a scramble in his brain. Maybe he thought, you know, that Daigo wasn't charging down back, but as soon as that sonic boom was there was just enough time. And again, Daigo, being the man that he is, he's always ready for the execution. This guy has pretty much all the tools ready. Very, very well played from both ends. Truly, one of the biggest spectacles we could ask for. Again, Nagoya Ojo Body Star taking it 30-10. The big redemption in the run back against Good 8 squad. As we get our winning interview translated, I gotta say, every single match here, what you had Fudo versus Dogura, Akira versus Pugera, Daigo versus Gachikun. That's grand finals material, back to back to back.
Absolutely, that's premier level right there. That's stadium status, but you're getting it here out Super League every single week. And man, I'm gonna be so sad when this ends. But we still have more weeks to play and still have more games. Even today, Fudo during his interview says whether to play Anchor or not was contemplating whether or not he wanted to do it, but Daigo seemed really confident, so he thinks that read was right, and we definitely saw the results of that read. Daigo feeling very confident, showcasing it in his match. So it's good that they have the team, you know, backing it up, saying, "Hey, if you feel confident, I trust you. You're world-class talent, and I think you'll be able to take it, you know, do what you got to do, get the victory. Daigo says he's so tired. Akira says that he said that he lost, but he'll do better next time. And honestly, it felt like he just had to shift a few things in his game plan. It seemed like it was still pretty close, against the Pugera match. For Daigo saying he's so tired, I definitely get it. Rashid puts you in a lot of that mental stack like that. You're worried about the aerial approach, worried about the grounded approach. It stays solid in the corner is very important too as well. But him switching up what he does on his template of moves, his normals, things like that, adding more to the table, made it hard for Gachikun to come through without taking a lot of damage. So I gotta say, I bet Gachikun super tight on his side.
I think that was really smart, a very smart adjustment too from the side of Daigo in the order, right? Like he was talking about him just doing what he does. He talked about it earlier. What is Narukun doing?
Bravo.
I don't know what that was.
What? What is he doing?
I don't know, but he said bravo. He was bargaining. He said bravo, everyone, bravo. That scared me a little. I was like, is he okay?
Whoa, is someone yelling at me here?
I think everybody played phenomenally, and Daigo again, he literally just says, I just did what I did. He's talked about the amount of training he puts into it, the amount of hours he's grinded out. He found the solution within a matter of games, and it all went down to him changing up the template. You were talking about what he's been using to kind of keep players away and get most of his offense going. Him switching up from one button to another really, surprisingly, would shake up somebody like Gachikun, and bravo all around. These guys, bravo. These guys, nuts. Either way, good 8 squad, preventing the big W. Everybody else in the squad, everybody else in the rankings thus far in the ladder, definitely needed that, right? Good 8 squad limited now to 330. Definitely within closer contention for at least the number 2 team. But I gotta say, with Nagoya Ojo Body Star, they're shooting up now to 290. This is gonna be so sick going into the final weeks of Street Fighter League, and I can't wait. Take a look at the stats. What do we see here, Senkola?
So Daigo had a lot of anti-airs right there. I want to really talk about those anti-airs because I feel like that's such an important part of dealing with the likes of Rashid, the dive kicks coming through, and the different jump-ins. Similar to Cammy, you have to worry about that, especially up in the corner. But we saw the air throw, which keeps you so close, so calculated close, so you can get like a back fist or fierce as a mini situation. We saw that from Daigo continuously. And his bust outs definitely got caught a few times, but he was still able to shine with at least one of those. Overall, pretty decent stats from the side of Daigo, keeping him outside the skies, good amount of techs here and there, and not getting opened up too much in the later part of those matches. We saw him being able to not tech as much and hold more of those throws when need be, because you don't want to let Rashid continuously get that oppression going to phone. And once again, 30 on the side of Nagoya Ojo Body Star, 10 on the side of Good 8 Squad. That means they are at 290, only 30 points away from Good 8 Squad. Hotly contested. We talked about this. It's super close. And so was this match too as well. No, it wasn't. My bad. I'm actually lying to y'all. Fudo definitely washed up the Wind Devil. Looks like he made the pack with the Wind Devil too and got through the likes of Dogura, putting him in the corner continuously. And that crouching mini kick we talked about being hit confirmable, being a big pain point button for that character, and then hiding the throw at the very end was also problematic. On the side of Dogura, had nothing really. We saw mid-range he was doing decent, but when he got caught in these corner situations, he wasn't really able to fight back. Had to be Trigger, being able to get that, but we didn't really see much in terms of combos. And again, that corner position, the chase out on the V-shift, got the hit, and that was it. Fudo getting a big W for his team and sealing it with more than enough in the tank to take it in this sequence. Oof.
Definitely felt like a one-sided affair in benefit of Fudo, but going into the next match, this could have been either one's game. Akira showing lightning speed pretty much at the beginning of the game, getting a very, very giant conversion, so much so that it actually got highlighted almost immediately on Twitter. I was checking it out earlier, but firing right back and in record time as well was Pugera. This was the matchup to behold, right? This was like one of the fastest, close matchups that we've had, I think, in the history of the league in regards to, round for round, pound for pound. But that just goes to show you, Pugera has a ton of the mixes pretty much under his belt at all times, and also Cammy being able to explode pretty much at a single touch. Take a look at how much damage and how much of the corner carry that Pugera had in almost every instance of the touch. But again, Akira changing it up at the very slight second. Just wasn't going to be enough. As soon as he took to the skies, though, yeah, Pugera pretty much had the defensive answer. It all the way came down to this final decision, the V-shift. jumping away 4-4-2 times over, but the officer in Metro City stopped him dead in his tracks. Akira going in place of Rishin.
We'll see. Daigo getting that win for his team right here. Is up against Gachikun, and he decided that he doesn't really have a winning record against the likes of Gachikun, but was able to be so studious and solid. And all it was like switching up the buttons. Instead of just relying upon those crush countable buttons that are with punishable, he's decided to stay solid with like forward medium kick in general, the low pokes and things like that, challenging the dash-ins. Wasn't always successful, but overall successful enough to get the victory. We see the bust outs coming through, and the bait with the changeup, with the fireball approach. We've seen a lot of the faster ones, the slower ones, things like that, making it hard for Gachikun to read. There were some great whip punishes utilizing that fierce, and I like that fierce and crouch fierce play that came from Gachikun, but it just wasn't enough to deter the likes of Daigo. There's that air throw. Once again, the aerial approach shut down continuously. That back fist as a bait against the V skill. We've seen that continuously over and over again in these sets, and that trade very much in favor of the side of Daigo. We're definitely going to see that very wacky, wild interaction that had happened where, I mean, Gachikun did the right idea. You see the punish, but that boom was just there, gets hit, and unfortunate. And the flash kick, I think that might have been a dive kick, the side of Gachikun.
Yeah.
Heavy kick? I think that might have been a dive kick.
I was focusing on Daigo and his movement. I didn't notice that Gachikun had actually gotten clipped doing a jump roundhouse. I'd imagine. Thinking about it, Eagle Spike maybe could have punished the boom, but I don't know. That's like a split-second decision. That could have been Daigo also possibly getting a last-second flash kick, right? So you know how hitbox players do. Anyways, with the amount of confidence that Nagoya Oja Bodystar has going into it, right, they have their sights on playoffs. Being able to get a victory against the #1 team has really got to set their confidence high. Well, they're going to need it for sure if they make it into the playoffs. And also knowing full well that it's going to be in December, it's going to be a cold, cold month. That is for sure. You guys can definitely seal your seat, or at least within the comfort of your own home, by ordering it soon to be able to view on the day of. But if you can't, hey, no worries at all. We're still going to show it off just at a later date. With that in mind, we also have the grand finals happening in January, if I'm not mistaken. January 21st, correct?
Yes, that'll be coming through too as well. And to, you know, also talking about that, we have the World Warrior events closing out. They have the 5th one, I believe, either this week or next week. And then the finals happening next month. Next week. Okay, so next week. Oh, y'all better take a seat and watch that. And again, the 1st and 21st coming through for the finals too as well for Street Fighter League Japan. Make sure you catch all the Street Fighter 5 action, Japan or Street Fighter League Japan or World Warrior Japan, to see who's going to be taking those seats at the CPT finale.
Yeah, so I actually made a mistake. I think, so the final qualification spot for number 5 for Japan happens at the same time as CPT US Northeast. No, sorry, for the East. What did I say? North America East is what I meant to say. My brain is scrambled. But yeah, pretty much the same weekend. So you guys are going to have a lot of Street Fighter to catch up with. So highly encourage you guys to check all of that out. With that in mind, we have a lot of players here that have been playing out of their minds, right? The fact that Pugera and Gachikun are playing on the same team, they had to face off against each other, and in a double jeopardy situation nonetheless for World Warrior, that is absolutely bonkers. So be sure to tune in for that. It's going to be December 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to double check this calendar one more time, St. Cola. December 3rd for World Warrior. We're going to see that slide eventually. So we're going to see that slide eventually, but you don't want to miss it, right? With all things in mind too, at Capcom_esports as well as at Xbox_esports. Be sure to follow them for your chance to win this nice G-Tune tuned-up PC. It's been pretty cool, but overall at Capcom_esports, they've been dishing out a lot of really cool stuff in regards to what's been happening for the Japanese scene. So if you guys want to check out what's going on across the pond, if you're especially viewing from the stateside or maybe even EU, check out what's going to happen or what's been happening with the international competition.
That's true, but we're not done yet for Street Fighter League Japan. Not even done today. We have Saishun Sakonoko going up against V6 FAV Gaming coming up next after this break. And I gotta say, this one's gonna be super hot. Previously, it was FAV's win, but they are sitting in contention to be outside of qualification as they are tied with Yogun. And that is something wild to say because they were the winners of last season's Street Fighter League Japan. They were the winners. They were the victors, but they've hit a shaky start. They've had to climb up the ranks, and not everything has been so pretty out here You see Team Detonation, they may be out of the running depending on how things are going down there, waiting for what happens to these other teams to see if the other teams lose enough points for them to be able to shoot up above, but it's looking less and less likely, so they'll be able to play spoiler and still put in a lot of work as these team members and generally these players, and they'll still be playing at their highest to play spoiler out here for this team. You see Nagoya Ultra Body Star up here on the screen too, as well as the winners of today, making a, I don't want to say big upset, but definitely something different for a lot of people's expectations and getting that victory. 3-10 over the side of Good 8 squad. Man, it's actually been super sick. And you know what else is sick? Street Fighter 6. You know what would also be sick? Finding out a release date. Capcom, win, win, win.
There's okay, let's take a look, right? There's a couple of events coming up next year where we could potentially get a date, right? It could be after Capcom Cup, it could be after Evo Japan. So we'll see, we'll find out. We'll definitely find out. All right, that's the only thing that's for certain, that it's got to be after Evo Japan, because Evo Japan is running on Street Fighter V rules. Okay, let's just establish that right now. So we take a look at the dates as well. Our previous winner from this weekend, again, going to Tokido, showing off that Urian, pretty much having the win streak all the way through winners. We got to find out who wins in the 5th qualifier to determine that top 8 for the big dance happening on Christmas Day. You guys do not want to miss this. It's going to be a bloodbath. And it's going to be even more exciting to see how this even plays out at Capcom Cup. I don't even know what the schedule is going to be like to even incorporate the winner of World Warrior for these regions. So, with that in mind, we're going to find out one thing at a time. We're going to see who the winner is for this next match in Street Fighter League Japan. It's Saishun Console Kumamoto going up against V6 Plus FAV Gaming. Don't miss it. We'll be back with more Street Fighter 5 action. Get some water, get some snacks. We'll be back right after this.
さらに YouTube でご覧いただいている方、高評価、グッドボタンの方もぜひ一つよろしくお願いいたします。さあこの後は試合準備のため一度インターバルを取らせていただきます。21時15分からは第12節 Day2 マッチ2最春カンソル熊本対 V6 プラスファブゲーミング、こちらの模様をお届けしていきます。それでは一旦失礼いたします。
ご安全にな。
お、新入りかな。いい顔に撮れてるじゃないか。改めて担当教官のルークだ。よろしくな。
手加減は期待しないでくれ。
さあここからはマッチ
Back like we never left, episode 12, day 2 continues with Saishun Console Kumamoto going up against V6 plus FAV Gaming, the previous winners of Street Fighter League Japan. However, right now, these two teams are only 5 points away from each other. We're going to see who's doing the top spot, or at least above each other, after this match concludes. But right now, we're going to talk about these introductions. My name is Sakonoko Vicious, and we're looking at Sako leading the charge of the V6 team, the Sure Spear, utilizing that Manan, and possibly Kage. After that is Tokido getting his recent win with that Luke, the genius pro gamer, always taking the top tiers out here. Then right after is the Judgment King himself, Papa Bonchan, coming through with that Luke and Sagat 2. Last but not least is going to be Super Sansara himself from Space with Sim, gets it in with Torameshi, leading the charge, or ending the charge, I should say, with that Sim pick. This is a stacked team, but has not been able to be in that top spot as they were previously.
You know, slow and steady wins the race. They weren't at the top of the mountain before, but they ended up winning the race anyway. But they have quite the opposition that are currently ahead in points. Saishun Console Kumamoto with the Brute Ching leading the pack. It's Nemo with both Falk and Urien. And if one problem isn't enough, well, you have another one with the Prodigy from Higuchi, also with the irreverent, talented Guile. Shuto following it up, following the footsteps of the big devil. It's the little devil himself. And of course, rounding it all up, it's the hermit from Shimane. It's the monk, YHC Mochi, and that very much so patented Dawson that we're so used to seeing right now in the league. This entire team is quite the powerhouse, and it's been very exciting to watch them on their journey, go through all of their ups and downs as well. So much so that YHC Mochi has transformed into the sign, right? He's been in a meditative state trying to get some of these W's because he's been a little bit lackluster in his performance, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because everybody in the league is an absolute killer. But as we talked about before, this is a 5-point difference between the two teams, and we have our roster. Who are we looking at for the away side?
Bonchan with that loot coming through. Sako in the middle position with the Mana, and then Tokido hot off his W after this weekend, the World Warrior event with the Luke. That means Luke, Mana, Luke. That's a very strong and stacked team right there. Even outside the character picks of Luke, you know, beyond that, it's the strong competitors. And I feel like all those competitors have found their way with the characters, especially Tokido. We saw him taking the victory on the winner side of things against Pugera at the end of the grand finals this weekend. We're going to see who goes up first. I believe that YHC Mochi will be absent today, so we'll just have the 3 going up of Nemo, Shuto, and the rest. We'll see who's going to be taking down this team. It looks like Nemo's going up with the Gil. Wow. Gil of all characters.
That's very important. We actually hadn't mentioned that, or I neglected to mention the fact that he's actually utilized Gil in a match prior. You know, this is something that was considered by Hamiko, the fact that that Nemo might actually put Gil in charge, but in this manner, completely unseen. Nobody thought that this was going to be a matchup that would happen against someone like Bonchan. But Gil versus Luke, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say that I've seen this before, Sankola, but it's going to be very interesting regardless.
Yeah, some people in the U.S., my man Footwork likes to think that Gil does well against Luke. I haven't really seen that match too often to say that's the case. And I feel like the toolkit of Luke would do well against Gil overall. The better buttons, better neutral, being able to punish these, you know, tackles if they're not well spaced, and even the well spaced ones might get done in. And just having a more stable game plan like Luke is going to be maybe more efficient. But then again, what happens on paper doesn't always happen in the match. And we'll see if it happens like that. Bonchan says Higuchi's been playing the Luke match, so he's been training, but he's also been training for Gil too as well. Nemo says Gil, Luke, he'd like to give 100% to this game. So if Nemo pulls up with the Gil, there has to be a reason, there has to be a factor of why he's playing this character, you know, over Urien, over also Falk that he does have. Maybe he doesn't feel like the Falk is ready and steady enough to deal with the likes of Luke.
You know, I'm actually going to take a look at his stream right now and see what he'd been practicing with this character, because I'm pretty certain the last couple of times I was watching his stream, he was utilizing Falk, but as of yesterday, he did have a long training session in the lab trying to find a bunch of neat tricks to mix up Luke. But in regards to like defensive play, I didn't really get to see it as often. Like he was looking for maybe some situations against Tokido, because he was watching a bunch of Tokido footage. Like we're talking about hours and hours of Tokido footage before he even stepped into the lab. So with that in mind,
Right.
I think he's looking for ways to maybe utilize Gil's normals to whiff punish some of Luke's normals. That's the only thing I could possibly think of, and that's the only thing I actually saw in the lab. So I can't imagine how this matchup goes in regards to like how the normals are for Gil and what he can get out of it. I mean, we could almost kind of base it off like the Urian matchup because they have similar normals, but we'd have to take that in very different strides, right? Gil and Urian, although they're related, not the same.
Nah, Urian is definitely the better brother still, despite the fact that have happened, the nerfs that have happened to Urian and the buffs that happened to Gil. You know, just to mention real quick, though, Waichi Mochi will be sitting out. He's absent today. Just want to mention that once again. So it'll be Higuchi, Shuto, and Nemo, regardless of what happens. But going back to the Gil match, there's still good things that Gil does have. I mean, like, he is not the best character in terms of like the neutral play. His buttons aren't really the best. He doesn't really get Oki off a lot of things, so he's not going to be able to continue that pressure. However, his V trigger is super strong, and there's a lot of cute little mix-ups. I don't want to say cute; they're deadly mix-ups that we see from a lot of Guild players that have stuck with the character that even catch the likes of V-Shift and stuff like that. So you might be able to mash out of one with V-Shift, but maybe that's the call that they need to put you in the blender of a lot of damage. And that Retribution being a little bit more consistent with that V-Skill comment allows you to get a little bit more of that V-Bar built up too as well and access more of that damage. But once again, Luke is just so strong. His fireball game is more powerful. The EX fireballs, the leading the fireballs up the table of Gil, being able to punch this character a lot better, having the medium punch and the crush mini kick. I'm so curious to see what Nemo is going to showcase against someone who is not even beyond just Luke, just as aggressive as Bonchan is with his neutral, that might not even let the party get started.
Yeah. Taking a look at the current record between the two, right? You know, Nemo had still been kind of struggling to find himself a couple of W's on the board, but it's not to take away from his talent, right? I mean, he's been 3 out of 8 thus far. He has 30 points on the board. That's still going to be, you know, enough to at least get something going, at least for your team. 30 points is better than none. That's what I'm going to say for the entirety of that. But Bonchan, overall, I think he's also had a very kind of like off record despite how well he's been performing throughout like ages of Street Fighter, right? He is just barely over Nemo by 10 points. He's got 4 wins out of 9.
You know, considering the pedigree out here, once again, it's someone's going to be leaving with less points than the other person. But considering someone like Bonchan, who, you know, maybe hasn't found that stability that we see with Luke, maybe than other players and, you know, finding their way with that character, maybe that is part of it, where he's still trying to find how to play this character. Because now we're entering the era of the person you're fighting probably has 4 to 3 years plus of gameplay with their character. You only have 6 months. So to get up a tip-tape shot, you've got to be really grinding out with this character. Let's see if he's able to find the victory. Last time he fought, he did beat Pugera's Balrog. We're definitely seeing everything come to fruition, the puzzle pieces come together. Let's see if they do so in this match. I'm so curious to see what Gil has to offer against the likes of Luke.
Round 1.
Here we go. We're going to see possibly Bullet Hell first coming in from Nemo. Create that space. There we go. Not able to first pass the fireball. Nemo off to a great start already. Look at how much more activity he gets off of this.
Finish fireballs too as well. Not too close to punishable. Bonchan takes back his turn. Trade, not bad for Nemo. Keeps him caught in the corner. The jail, no bail. Not able to cross up anti V-shift. Goes to the break like that for Bonchan. Now it's turn for him to give this man a knuckle sandwich. Dash in, counter hit, DP ender. Back leading for the plus frames.
Yeah, even though the tackle knocks down a pretty decent range, it does give you plus 18, so you do have enough for a dash up and be plus 2. So you are going to get like a meaty off of like a maybe low medium kick, which is what Nemo had been doing, but it won't amount to too much unless you have meter, which Nemo has. He could have activated, but he's still looking for a different route. I don't know if he's still looking for that activation anymore still.
Can't dash in on this man. The backward DP into the super.
Okay.
Low enough to seal. A ton of damage.
Thank God, too.
You're not dead.
Oh, he's not dead. I thought he missed the initial critical alert, but now I'm even more concerned, or at least I thought I was. Luke absolutely ready for the anti-air. That better be counted on the stat sheet, because that was
It was godlike. Normal DP right there. Actually coming through with the anti-air. And Bonchan also sealing with that V-trigger. helping to lock things out. He had the super to kill, and then to back it up, he had the feature, I should say. Big jump in situation, DP ender, back medium, no tries to find a fadeaway, but Nemo with the activity, won't wake up for the buttons. No back throws here, bro. Careful of the H fireball to leap these fireballs off the table inside of Nemo. But Bonchan just walking and blocking. Nice and patient. These fireball with the block though from Nemo. Not getting much off this V-trigger just yet.
Man, this one's so close too. You do get the heavy impact crush counter off the forward heavy punch. Back throw now. Still Bonchan in full control. I gotta say, there's been a lot of attempts for Nemo to get some of these big openings, but the defense from Bonchan is just too much. And even more so than that, the offense is hard to handle, especially with the fact that you don't really have reversals like that. Again, with the basics that Gil has, the most he could do is maybe a crouching jab, because that is a 3-framer. Other than that, he's a sitting duck sometimes.
And he's still not getting that much off that counter hit 3-frame jab, to be honest. You're not getting as much as other characters, especially not the likes of Luke. So, again, not having as much Oki to loop your advantage. And also, we didn't really see the V-trigger really come through in the clutch, which is Gil's best aspect. Being able to mix people, or even put the damage on it, what that V-trigger is more utilized for. Not really coming into play and out zone from a character that has a faster fireball. We're not really seeing the effects of Luke come through. I wonder if we're going to see the switch to Falk. I know that he'd been practicing practicing Gil, as you had mentioned, on his stream, but I'd like to see that Falk play. I'd like to see that Falk come through. Falk has been a problem out here for the Japanese Luke players, and I think it's a real hard 5-5 to deal with for the likes of Luke. Just keeping out that range where you want to get in with those figures, those mediums and things like that, and she gets harassed with the fireballs and safely do so. I'd like to see the Falk from Nemo. We'll see if that's even the switch up. We'll see if that's even going to be the victory, because right now Bonchan's looking real smooth.
Yeah, and I do believe, like, taking a look at the matchups at hand, I don't think Bonchan has really encountered any sort of threat like that. In fact, this is the first time he's playing against Saishun Console Kumamoto. I think it's the same for both of these players. Both Nemo and Bonchan didn't get to play in their first encounter in the previous week. So really interesting to see how this is playing out overall. Sticking with the Gil, way more interest in that, to be honest with you. Very surprised. Strong start thus far.
Turn off the light. Charge up Fierce. Hold this throw, bro. Put that sand on the wall. Fireball too as well. Way better something here from Nemo, but this all turns away with this good play off the medium kick. Gets a follow-up. Nothing off that charge Fierce. Not too much damage off of that, but you see Bonchan bringing himself back to mid-screen. A toe tap and easily punished with that light button.
Yeah, being within range, you're definitely going to get that punish, because that jab just sends you so far forward as Luke. Get the activation. Are we even going to get the quarrel disaster that we've seen from Nemo from these past couple of days? He sent out like a really, really long combo, taking advantage of the retribution system. But as it stands right now, Bonchan, he is big chillin'. And it's not because of the cryokinesis. He is just actually playing this as slow as possible.
He's vibing right now, surviving. Even though he doesn't have the lead, it still feels like he is rocking this right. He's got the bar at the bottom, is building up more and more, and he'll get it off that hit. Crouching mini kick ends it with the super to seal it. He was walking and blocking to build that bar to go far. And right now, he is sitting on set point. This is looking too dominant right here.
That's exactly it. Yeah, Nemo has been perplexed pretty much the entirety of the rounds. Like, even though he would start off aggressively and find some of the marks against Bonchan, it only led to his destruction. I think Bonchan, again, saving it all up and also picking apart Nemo's defense just like that, micro-stepping out of the way to set up for the tick throw, and it leads to so much. Throw will do it, and he knows if he's looking for it, he does get it. That's pretty much all she wrote. Yep. Flash knuckle, back to back, charged up. And even if he wasn't dead, uppercut was going to follow up. Bonchan in a very, very solid play, very solid start for his team V6.
man was definitely ready for a character that you don't typically see, and really only probably one of the rare guild players that you would see up in Japan, the best of the best out here, but put him to rest. Utilize those fantastic medium punch, light punch. Not only were they punishes, but also buffers up in the neutral, delete this character off the table. We get to see all those fancy combos that you typically see from Gil, and if you're not seeing those, you're probably not seeing the W from that character.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit problematic going into it, right? We've talked about the differentials in regards to the points and the rankings. That pretty much puts V6 Plus FAV Gaming 5 points ahead of Saishun Console Kumamoto. But they need it as much as anyone else does right now in the bottom three, right? They need to at least get the rest of these points to secure that big cushion into the playoffs and get away from the School of Fish, from Team Gyogun, as far away as possible. So off to a great start for the team that was pretty much under fire against Saishun Console Kumamoto. Taking a look at the anti-airs, 1 out of 1. And I wonder what it may have been, St. Cola. I wonder what that one may have been. It could have been something maybe from an EXD drop. Who knows? But all jokes aside, not too big on the strike throw game from the side of Nemo. Right, Nemo not being able to successfully get all these big throw attempts in his favor, and also that kind of led to his demise. Right, it was pretty much stun for game, and that's exactly what he got.
Yeah, some text on the side of from Bonchan. Honestly, if you're doing that, you're probably feeling real comfortable in a match where you could get exploited with the retribution system. We didn't get to see that happen right there as Nemo goes down 2-0, 10 points on the side of V6 Plus FEV Gaming right here, doing fantastic. And Bonchan looking real strong with that loop. Now we're going to see who's going to go up against Sako. Who would you send up against Sako if you're Saishun Console Kumamoto?
Against Sakonoko, I'm sending in Higuchi for sure. I like Guile versus Minot. I genuinely do. I think that's going to be a problem for the way that Sako wants to play it out. I think Higuchi can be a pretty big aggressive, probably the big aggressor in this matchup, but he also knows how to utilize the spacing pretty well. So I think he's got a lot of control in this matchup, and I think he's going to show that off against Sakonoko.
Hey, I agree. And I think Shuto also being in the anchor position will definitely be able to clean up if need be, you know, depending on how things rock out. But, you know, back to that game plan, someone as aggressive as Higuchi will definitely be playing spoiler to Sako, because Sako is the rumble in the jungle. He's the type of not player that utilize those nasty hitboxes on the orb approach of the character and be able to fight it out, you know. So like, this is the play style that Higuchi wants to play. This is his jungle. This is where he likes to fight. So this will be one of those scrappy matches where Guile will definitely get the better in terms of damage output, in terms of reward and things like that, until Vitra gets popped, and we'll see what happens in terms of defense. But Higuchi has been doing a lot of work. Had won one of the CPTs, had gotten second previously, and has been doing a ton of work just overall in Street Fighter League Japan. He has 8 wins in 11 games. That is a lot, and a lot of these have come from anchor matches, dropping a lot of the top tier teams out here, top tier players out here, and being the reason, honestly, some of these top tier teams are getting dropped too as well. I feel like for the first half, he had been kind of, I don't want to say carrying the King team, but doing the most work for the team, and the team started picking up slack with Shuto and Nemo in the wings too as well. But man, Higuchi's been the star of the show for a while for this team and part of Street Fighter League Japan. Sako, though, not doing too bad, 3-6, so half of his games he's got victories in and losses too as well. Last time we saw him, he lost to Uriel's Rose, just couldn't deal with that rushdown approach. So it's good to see him back in the seat. Is it going to be a win or defeat for him? We'll have to see. Higuchi, he loves to play that slugger style. If you want to rumble like that, he's like, this is A-okay. Let's see if Sako has something for him today.
And it's going to be the ever important matches, right? If Saishun Console Kumamoto gets the W from Higuchi against Sakonoko in this particular matchup, that sets him up for a very, very good chance of, you know, taking points away from V6 in regards to like not getting that 40-point blowout and still keeping them at the bottom of the barrel where Gyogun could try to scoop them up. But again, Higuchi needs to make sure that they get as many points as possible. They don't want to set up for a 25er. They want to get this 30. They absolutely need this 30. But looking into it, we've talked about the pre-game interviews like we usually do. Sakonoko, he's looking to chill, right? After Bonchan's first W, he's looking to just chill and pretty much win this, right? He wants to make sure that he's calm and ready for this matchup, knowing full well that they at least have points on the board. With Higuchi, he had a remark in regards to Sako-san's age, right, and his current status, right? So he says, Sakusan, the oldest pro gamer that we have, me being the youngest, this is going to be a very fun match because we have this kind of youngest versus oldest theme going on. So they did have to change a little bit of the strategy going forward. Again, with the absence of YHC Mochi, I'd imagine that would have been the matchup preferred against Sakonoko, but we'll still get a similar kind of taste of that from Higuchi. I think there's going to be a lot of control from the side of Guile, at least with the Sonic Booms initially. But there's one thing in mind. There's one thing that usually shows you that Sako is going to be ready for the matchup, is if he managed to V-skill, if he manages to V-skill the first boom thrown at him.
Ooh. Is that going to be the tail of the tape right there? That's going to dictate what's going to happen. Is that the spoiler if he hits them with the V-skill, the same day delivery, send it right back to him?
It's not going to hit him necessarily. He's just going to absorb it with the V-skill. It's going to be just fine. I think, that's like one of the biggest things that Minot can do to control the matchup against somebody who has a fireball. So it does absorb the hit, right? It's not going to really send it back at him. So it's going to be just fine, right? We're going to see whether or not it's going to be that type of matchup from Minot.
What if that's gonna be even that big of a problem though? I mean, Higuchi's like, okay, cool, you're taking away my fireballs. I got these normals to throw down, and we've seen how Higuchi does round after round. He loves the normals of Guile. In fact, the booms are just they're just a seasoning. They're just a little bit of a spice right there, and that's how you kind of want to play with Guile this season. It feels like where they want you to utilize a lot more than normals, and the booms to set up shop for a lot of things. We saw that with Daigo. We've seen it with Higuchi continuously, and how aggressive he is, and how he takes back his turn when he's minus. It feels like he's just playing a different game. Like you have to play against Higuchi. You're not just playing against Guile. You're not just playing Street Fighter 5. You're playing against Higuchi. He's so different with it. Let's see who's going to get the victory. See who's going to get the W. Let's see if Sako can stay away from the likes of Higuchi and stay solid.
We'll see. It's going to be the second to last match of the day, and it's going to be pretty wild, right? Higuchi versus Sakonoko, one of the youngest versus one of the oldest. But best believe, no matter what the age difference is, both are very, very good Street Fighter 5 players. We're about to see that now. Here we go, game one. Not the absorb we were looking for. Not even trying to build that V-trigger. There it is. We were looking for that earlier. Oof, a back fist.
Oh, take it back. Oh, he just went for the back though right there. Expecting attack though from Sako. Again, Higuchi, hard to hold down back fist. Get a little bit of damage. Has the idea of the EX fireball. Gets a dash in throw immediately. Keeps it eating with the boom again. Nice clip from low. Off the bazooka knee. There's bar at the bottom for activation for Sako.
Huge. Nothing, no release after the low medium kick. Nope. Oh boy. I like this sequence. Sakonoko has to go for the reset. If universal out, he tried to punish, or at least tried to set on the orb. Oh, that could have been huge. Higuchi ducking at the right time. One more touch against Sakonoko, that'll be it. Sako needs a big sequence to land into critical art to get the W.
Oh, so close.
By little. Oof.
That crouching medium
Really
kick.
tough to manage.
Higuchi. Man, his defense is excellent. Crouching, ducking the orb, staying away from the play, getting that crouching medium kick for Sako to come in to get the win. That was fantastic play from Higuchi. Utilizing that view reversal to not get hit with the orb mix-up, because that would have been a reset into kill. Sako still sitting on a lot of bar to utilize. He'll utilize that bar, if need be, to get up lead up in this round. Let's see the EX orb toss too as well for some damage.
Oh yeah, he's still
that.
ready with the EX flash kick. Yeah, not shy at all. And also using that V-Ridge again for the V-shift break, creating some space. And Higuchi finding the right times to jab after the recall. Pretty important defense against the orb, not even just with the normals extension or extended, but also the orb recall is pretty important. Nice V-shift still out of the way from the recall.
So smart with that bar usage. Orb knee kick. Trying to catch that crouch mini kick. Keep it locked up in the corner. Spacing out these normals at the perfect range. Careful though, the whiff, but still, the orb is out and about. Sako trying to find these openings, and it is adding up the damage. He needs to leave this corner.
Oh.
Reverse, he's out of there. Had to pay the toll though.
Nice.
Not a bad one.
Not bad at all. The EX soul throw catching Higuchi. The recall now, forcing the block shot, but nothing afterwards. Sakonoko letting Higuchi out scot-free a good amount of the times. Not even forcing Higuchi to spend the meter for the bust out. He's just using stand short and then no pressure afterwards. 13 seconds on the clock. Higuchi, he's going to play Enforcer, or he was at the moment. This is going to be huge. Can Sakonoko get it in time? 3 seconds, no orbs left. This is all Higuchi, no doubt about it. All Higuchi, even if he threw it. The timer scam is there. Not going to be enough. And I'm really curious because after the orb recall, you're plus. You are very much so plus. And I'm just not understanding how Sakonoko is just letting this pressure slide for free. He just enforces the block swing with a standing light kick, and that's it.
Yeah, nothing much after it. And honestly, there's not always the threat of the flash kick. There's not always a threat of the idea of the flash kick. Even at the bottom, even when there's out without bar, he's just holding that pressure. Maybe, you know, I'm not sure what he's really looking for here. Overall, though, I gotta say Higuchi's defense on the reverse of things is fantastic. I always talk about his offense being really great. In fact, some of the best in the business. But his defense, in terms of when he V reversals, when he V shifts, he's knowing when to get out of these situations and knowing when to stay solid. Even outside of that, when he's reversal jumping out of situations, when he's reversal jabbing and things like that, it's not letting Sako get started enough, and we're not seeing a lot from Sako in terms of that V trigger to wind things down because of the great defense. Outside of even V shift and V break, just the normal innate defense from Higuchi has been ridiculous. So Higuchi's offense, defense looking spectacular. Sako's got to find more of these openings and make more of these count. I'd like to see more of the EX bar being utilized. He's not usually shy about utilizing the EX bar, but he does get the hit confirms to kind of equalize things for the health lead. But we're not really seeing it here too often.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think you're absolutely right. We're going to see if that kind of changes up for Sakonoko against this matchup in particular. Taking a look at what we have so far, I was just thinking about this like off topic. It would be so cool to see Higuchi potentially face off against someone like Rickerman's Barnett from the EU, like face off against a different style of the knot, right? Because this is a matchup also that we rarely get to see. Even in moments where, you know, Minot was like super strong and Guile still being the strong character that he is, there were moments where he was stronger. I think, you know, this is a matchup that we also didn't get to see as often, but there's an orb recall. We see the defense too from Higuchi as the orb comes back, but we'll see when. Yep. Having the right timing and then immediately jumping over the second boom, or sorry, the second orb. He's been very, very conscious of when Sakonoko wants to throw this orb.
And he's been doing a good job of choosing what button to jump in with. Jumping heavy kick has some weird ranges where it can get a little deep dish with it, but the jumping medium kick has some really great ranges too. And he's been finding ways out. As soon as I say that, commentator's curse steps on it, explosion, and now put up in the corner. But see Sako backing away, maybe afraid of the EX play that could come through, the EX being the knockdown. Challenge, but here's the back throw. Higuchi putting Sako in the corner. Go from the fireball. Higuchi not deterred.
Ooh. Caught off a heavy punch, and now it's going to be Sakonoko within that range to get the recall, but it's still Higuchi finding ways to get these sonic booms, and a big opening from Sako, spinning the EX bar, waiting for the recall. He's going to do it. No, V reversal instead. That's fine. Oh, are you dead? No, you're not quite. There's the recall, but he's fine with that. Oh my God, that boom could have been so catastrophic for Sakonoko. 6 orbs in a dream. Can he do it?
Absolutely. Could definitely do so. Sako coming back. It's not over. It's not over. He didn't hear no bell. He didn't hear no bell. Getting a lot more aggressive. It's a lot more steady. When he throws out the orb, hiding his attention too as well with these buttons every so often. Here's Higuchi with the B skill. No, gets caught. Punish to make him drop. There's an EX bar being zippified more in this match like that. This is what we like to see. Get that better lead. Force Higuchi to make some mistakes. Force him to overextend against the win.
I think it's going to be so important too to understand that when Sakonoko has the orb, he's still going to have that capability to reflect. So he really needs to watch when he's trying to throw out some of these projectiles. When he doesn't have it, however, that's going to be a whole different story too. Yeah, throw out those sonic booms. Sakonoko is going to be way more susceptible. He can't really V-skill, and even within that range, you're going to get punished. Look at the amount of damage. Upside down kick after, or sorry, the reverse spin kick afterwards. No, wait, that's the high kick. That's what it is.
Back to with the Sabato, I like that. Looking for that activation, but it's still going to happen. The inevitable, the trade though, Higuchi knowing that's going to be more in his favor because he had more than enough for that transaction with that health lead. And right now, we see him on set point, once again, getting Grizzly. Long Sako up in this corner and doing way better on defense. Oof, now the crush, now good on offense, sweep off the feet.
Yes, there it is. Yeah, we get the EX soul throw, but it's not going to create too much space away. No drill kicks here. Higuchi absolutely ready for it. The V-shift out of there to get the reverse. Yes, sir. Oh, that was actually disgusting to get that full sequence. He thought he had time. There was an instant recall from Sakonoko. Did land counter it. Oh, this is a tough spot for Higuchi. He is stuck.
Oh, that's sweet. Careful now. That could have been the recall into a kill right there. One hit will now. Activation off the boom. Puts him in the corner to practice Suplexo. Far at the bottom. Higuchi just needs to land one good jump in to do it. Sends on EX actually. And he's still super. But still dangerous. That's a jump in, but still Sako with a trade.
Yep. Super smart. Yeah, that's definitely going to be something that Sakonoko is prepared for at all times, right? He always has the orb on deck to get some of these trades or as an anti-air, and he's feeling good about that one. He is feeling relaxed and confident after that one. So that's got to be a dangerous sign. So I do like Sakonoko, again, kind of holding back a little bit more in regards to like the orbs, the orb release. I think he doesn't really need to have like the orb release while in V-Trigger. I think it's super important because sometimes she'll absorb it if she doesn't have the orb, and she'll reflect it if she does. That's a very, very important thing to note. Like, Sakonoko has been really picking and choosing when to contest the Sonic Boom game while in Trigger, rather than enforce offense or the threat of offense with the orb being out there. So I'm really liking this back and forth from Sakonoko and Higuchi thus far.
He's been a real good battery because he's been getting a lot more aggressive. We see him a little more comfortable too as well. That's leading to more EX bar being built up and more EX bar being utilized too as well. We see him getting a bigger lead, and it's forcing Higuchi to try to make that comeback, to try to feel where he's comfortable, where he has a lead. And I gotta say, Sako's play on defense, that V-trigger situation trade, perfect right here. Let's see who's gonna take it. Let's see who's going to win the final game between the two. Down to the wire.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much a close call. I think we're taking a look at how many points is needed from both sides, right? Saishun Console Kumamoto definitely needs this W. They can't rely on that 25-point victory, so it needs to be all or nothing here. Higuchi already off to a very, very difficult start against Sakonoko and just pushed out of the orb. And look at this. Yeah, the control that Sakonoko has right now has been spectacular. In and out of the ranges of the orb, in and out of the ranges of where Higuchi wants to play.
Yeah, he's doing all this V-bar for the V-shift. And you see Sako building that V-bar with the quickness too as well. Whipping that round, allowing him to utilize more of that V-bar or something different with it. Backed away from that Knuckle Fierce play. Trying to get that crush off that Fierce Sako, but nothing doing. Wrestling with the median. Finds it open. EX gets the knockdown. Up the Miss Cleo, caught him walking in with the light. One more hit will be good night.
Out of there. No, doesn't get the punish. I think that's the first time Higuchi had dropped that punish against the V-reversal. Watch out for that boom. And I love the recall just getting rid of the boom pressure. Man, this has been so superb so far from Sakonoko. And the jump in punishing the booms. That is something we haven't seen. That's been super sharp from Sako. That's a very good reaction and punish. Missed opportunity for a reflect there.
Flash kick puts him in the corner though. Upside down kick gets a hit, the counter hit, ton of damage. Go for the throw, but we'll find the fadeaway. But if that stun gets it off that one hit, and we'll definitely get it done. Oh! He dropped this man. So finish it.
Dropped it all.
With this bar at the bottom for Sako for the super. Trying to get that lead.
Oh.
Expensive lead over the Sonic Boom. He still has a V-trigger though.
What? He dashed up and threw him, and Sakonoko had no answer for it. What? He spent so much of that bar for what? That's such a weird call. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. That is such a weird call from Sakonoko. He was at such a deficit that critical art needed a lot more behind it, and he just got thrown with 6 orbs on him. That's gonna be a big green light for Higuchi now.
He says, "You're not locked in. I'll lock in to get my win." He steals right back at, but Higuchi has a call from the corner. Sends it right back at him. Sako. Sweep off the feet. A sweep for a sweep. Higuchi has him locked up in the corner. Let's see if Sako can make more out of this future situation. Activate that range explosion. Sako harassing him, but Higuchi's fine to take all this. It just builds up more V-bar for him. He looks like that V-shift or V-break. Feet again to confirm. Off in the corner. Super on the deck. One hit to connect.
Oh my God!
Are you kidding me?
Right when the orb was about to strike, Sakonoko thought he was gonna get a mix-up going. As soon as it got near Guile's hurt box, my man Higuchi busted out with the EX flash kick. Both the read and the reactions, 1000% on point. Dear Lord Almighty, Higuchi with the play of the day. That was intense for him to even have that read in the first place, and even more so react accordingly. That is the epitome of young man reactions right there.
My man saw something in the bushes and shot immediately. Dang, that flash kick was super sick with him, but that's a Higuchi style. It's so hard to read what he wants to do with those reactions, with the data that he had gathered, being able to seal against the likes of Sako and able to stay solid. Man, that was a good back and forth overall. I like Sako having his, his bar usage a lot bit better, but just Higuchi getting that better round start after that big drop. I don't even know what that was from Sako, though. Had no backing after that V-trigger. I'm so confused after what that was.
I don't know, but taking a look at the stats, there's a lot of hundreds on this man's behalf, right? Higuchi, all across the board, 4 for 4 in anti-airs, 3 out of 3 in regards to EX reversals, 0-2 in throws, not too bad, which is a lot to say about Sakonoko's pressure, right? What happened to his pressure off of the orbs, right? What happened to his pressure off of V-trigger and recalls? There hasn't been a lot. Like, granted, he got 2 throws, but, everybody strikes gold at the free throw line every so often. I think Sakonoko, there was a lot to be said with his final performance in that last game. A lot of questions, but that's something we'll save for another time. Sakonoko falling just a bit short. He definitely could have had that, but he had spent and made the decision to go for critical art a little bit too early. I don't know about all that, but what I do know is Shuto is coming up to bat. As YC Mochi is not part of the equation today, we hope he is doing just well and fine and dandy. But Shuto, again, the anchor spot. This is going to be the matchup for Tokido. It's something that he's probably looking forward to, because I think Tokido, I know that Tokido is holding Shuto in very high regard in regards to how he performs with Urien.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how he's going to operate against Urien. And also, I feel like Tokido's found his way with Luke this past week and really solidified that. The past time that Tokido had even came up on the screen in the anchor match, we've seen him really find his way with his character. That pestering, poking style with the lights and things like that, backed up with hit confirms every so often if he needs to dump out some damage, has really led to the annoyance of a lot of players. And he knows how to ramp up either side of things. And his meter usage is fantastic too as well. One of the best things when we watch him at the CPT Warrior event is him utilizing V-shift and V-break at the right times and building V-bar at the right times, utilizing V-trigger when need be. He really feels like he's becoming one of the most optimal Luke players. I mean, he is the most optimal Luke player, I think, overall. And he might be in that top spot slowly but surely. Tokido says that the Urien match is something he's been prepping a lot, and we've seen Tokido play the Urien even in the CPTs and even at EVO, so he definitely knows that matchup. Shuto says he's looking forward to this match. I can't count out Shuto, though. Shuto also taking a W at the World Warrior event, taking down Mago recently in Street Fighter League, so he definitely knows how to fight Luke. But do you know how to fight this annoying Luke that Tokido presents?
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this matchup plays out. I think, Tokido very much so in the realm of one of the best Uriens out there right now. As for the Luke gameplay, we've talked about, Tokido being a world-class player. I feel like it's very difficult to see or to talk about who actually has the best Luke in the world at this point. I genuinely feel that way. I think Tokido will be in that discussion because he's an amazing player. But I'm genuinely curious to see who has the best Luke. And then, man, that's so tough to call. It's really tough to call. But it could be anybody at this point who's piloting Luke. It could be maybe like one of the birds down the line. It could be like maybe even Punk on a good day. It really depends. But taking a look at the matchup at hand, Luke versus Urien. We've seen this a lot, right, St. Cola?
This quite a bit. We've seen Luke quite a bit, and we've seen Urien come through a lot, Street Fighter League, doing a lot of damage where you wouldn't typically think that he'd be able to do so, and proving that Urien is still a threat. We already talked about the fact that Shuto had taken down the Luke of Mago. He can take down the Luke of Tokido, which is a way different style, and I know people are, I see Luke all the time, but we see a lot of these players have different styles, different tendencies, different bar usage, different times that they turn up like volume. We'll see if Shuto has something for this loop right here.
One of the many loops that we've seen thus far, and also one of the many Urians we've seen. But I feel like Shuto, again, being able to navigate past a good amount of loops as well throughout his time in the league, has really come to this very moment. Tokido keeping it pretty dead even, looking for some of the big openers off of the medium. A little bit too far maybe for the rest of the snapback. Wasn't feeling confident. Man, after the tech throw, Shuto still being able to get that standing medium punch.
Well, this character's still strong. That range he's got. When he gets off it too as well, if he has the buffer behind it, definitely still deadly. Tokido just harassing these buttons every so often. The fireballs too as well. The medium punch. Trying to find a whiff. Short tackle raw. Makes the fall with the Batista bomb. The challenge with Tokido on the wake up with no activation. Then from Shuto. The buffer though from medium. Didn't have the charge up the time.
Oh, that's huge.
Whip punish.
Goes for the Oki setup. The throw tech is there. Shuto, he does have the mirror. It was just a matter of time. The V-shift. No, not good. Go for a break. And that, what? Shuto is so sick. That confirm was actually so sick. He got the rest of that into a sweep. This kid is ridiculous.
Telling you, Shuto the best in the business right here in terms of Urian. We've seen it out here. We've seen the work that he's put in. The work he's put in the World Warrior events. He's got the sauce, no dip. It waits for it, baits it out, finds a big punish in the corner carry. It's a ton of damage. And gets a counter hit on the wake-up situation. The knee drop. He says, stop. It's over. Shuto with the first game.
There's a lot to be said about the way he utilizes his V-Trigger 1 in the first round, but there's a lot to be said in regards to like how he's picked apart the way Tokido wanted to play. There's been so many different counter hits, so many different situations with Shuto, which is at the right moment to get some of these normals to land, and it's super impressive to force Tokido to go into the character selection like this. Shuto is 100% ready for whatever it is Tokido has to put on, and it's just the way that he's been playing. I'd imagine Tokido is contemplating the mirror match.
Man, imagine wanting to test your Urian against a Urian that you admire, the one that you've been watching, the one you've been studying and almost basing your playstyle upon as your part of growth. Like I do feel like though this is the preparation of Shuto's really good with this loop. However, or this anti-loop play I should say. However, I still think he should just go run with the loop. I think the loop is the way to play. You run the Urian against a Urian in the mirror match like that against someone like Shuto who is so predicated with this character, who has main this character. I don't know if that's the way to play, but hey, Tokido might be able to prove me wrong. You know, we'll see if that even happens for the switch up. We'll see what happens when they get back off the screen.
I'm excited for it. I'm genuinely excited for it. It is going to be the loop play. I think there's just one more game to play before Tokido possibly changes it up, but I wouldn't be like thoroughly surprised because Tokido can be kind of stubborn. He wants to show the world Tokido's way, so I think him sticking it out with Luke is a very solid possibility. But Shuto, he's ready to break that down, man. He's totally content with that. But taking a look at the Sandblaster approach, we see a lot more activity from the fireballs from Tokido. And well spaced off of the tackle. And getting a big confirm now, it's all Shuto in the corner against Tokido.
That toe tap right at the right range, right at the tippy toe. Crouch me to kick though, and the light knuckle. V-shifts away from danger. Remember that Shuto is one of those cats that had been utilizing V-shift and V-break back when Urian was strong. Whip punish goes along with the crouching medium punch. Was so ready and steady. That nerve. And that crouch me to kick definitely doing work out here.
And it's so scary to even try to stand up. Like you want to kind of force that low medium kick to whiff, right? So if you're crouching down, you're expanding that hurt box. I think Shuto is just outside of that range if he were to stand back, but it's such a dangerous game to play because Tokido could micro-step his way forward. So you see that little measurement. Tokido disregarding all of that now, trying to get within throw range again. And it's been very, very patient from both ends. Look at this, very meticulous spacing from both.
Right, definitely want to be on the back foot as much as possible. Knockdown is Urian. We talked about how you don't have the reversal, and now it's happening here. What's the defense like? Blocks it out. Actually able to get the side switch off that block, though. Situation looking good for Shuto. V-reversal keeps up in the corner. Offensive V-reversal. Stay here for a while. No cancel into the EX. Here's the activation. V-reversal again from Shuto. Answer back to Tokido. He's got that V-bar at the bottom, but the challenge on the dash, you may not pass. No anti-air right there. He dashed in EX DP. That had to be EX Fireball.
What?
That had to have been.
No. I think so. He had intended for Shuto to try to like react and check the dash, so he tried to steal it away from him. Because EX Fireball into Thermal Barric, I don't know if that would have chipped him in time.
That's true. They went for the biggest bet he could. Died for it. Point. Shuto not getting aggressive for him in the corner. Do a good job. Locking Tokido down. That crouching medium punch, that standing medium punch. Doing a good job of not letting it be whiff punishable too. We saw it be whiff punishable earlier in this match. Do a good job of hiding his intention between the toe tap and the medium kick.
Oh, again finding the confirm. Man, this guy Shuto, he hits those like it's nobody's business. It's like drinking water to him. He has no effort, I feel like, in regards to that standing medium punch getting confirmed. It's ridiculous. Oh my lord. Ugh, look at the full confirm on that. Shuto, back-to-back rounds, again, back-to-back games on top of it. Shuto is looking absolutely pristine in his matchup, which is a big shakeup too, coming in from not even playing from their first engagement. Against V6 Plus FAV Gaming, they lost 10-30. But I gotta say, Shuto is looking to take it all the way back.
He might be able to do that, to be honest. Looking how strongly he is, utilizing the V-shift and the V-break at the right times, and the V-reversal, not timid about spinning that V-bar. He's been spinning a whole year. Previously, we saw last year, utilizing that V-bar for something different with it, right? Than other Urian players getting comfortable so that, yeah, you don't have EX headbutt, but you have other ways to play for defense. It has good innate defensive options. We see him backdashing in some of these situations where Tokido might want to go for medium punch. He's too far outside the range. Tokido not able to get that pestering style that we so typically see from him. And man, oh man, you know Tokido maybe feeling a little bit unusual right now because this is the Urian that you looked up to, thought you were prepped for, prepared for. But again, it's just feeling like, hey man, Shuto once again playing out of his mind. Yes, Urian is still strong. Yes, Urian is maybe not top tier, but he's still obviously viable. But the way that Shuto plays overall, his defensive capabilities, his challenges, his timings has been immaculate, perfect. You almost have to practice for Shuto himself.
Round one.
This is only going to benefit Tokido in the long run, but if he wants to make a change for his team, it has to be now. This is going to be a very, very big blowout, or at least a very important 20-point game, I should say, for either team, because they want to stay as far away from that elimination line as possible. Powerbomb off of restart. Shuto is still checking Tokido's movement with that low medium kick immediately afterwards. And again, just a measuring tool. You cannot get past it. How is he supposed to let go with his low medium kick if Urian is already occupying that space?
Double the reach too as well. I'd like to see more of that medium touch come through for Tokido, but challenge on the dash in, and that's the win. Tokido getting checked and challenged. All these dashes continuously is Shuto letting 2 bars fly. And right now, he's about to fly up to that set point situation. He is on the set point situation. About to pick up his team, take that victory. Dash in right there, finally gets a 3-piece into the light knuckle. Shuto answering right back with the medium. And a decent bomb throw down to the ground, you go.
Oh my god, the dash is still not getting checked. Shuto has gotten Tokido shook. Lost frames after that. Nice sphere, but still, there's the big bust out. Tokido going immediately for the Oki on the jump in, the safe jump, I should say.
Charging that medium. Good in it. Catch the toe tap, but nothing off of that. Nothing too big. Shuto looking fantastic right here. Shuto has a lot of work to do. He has the V-bar at the bottom. Could fight through the fireball if need be. Dash in, gets a counter hit, corner kick.
Going for the safe jump again. Shuto, he does have the mirror. It's time for Tokido to guess. He guesses it correctly, and that's going to be it. Shuto with a 4-round blowout, possibly even, no, technically 5 at the minimum. This man, Shuto, looking completely unfazed against Tokido. 3 games straight against the legend. My God, what is happening with the youth of Street Fighter V in Japan?
Bro, I do not get it. I'll be real. When it comes to the character choices, when it comes to their play style, they just know how to play. They know how to challenge these dashes. They know how to make you feel unusual. And they know how to get the W for their team. Shuto taking a victory. Has been super strong this entire season. Has been super strong this entire Warrior event that we have seen him at. He's already claimed one. So it's not surprising to see him be able to fight Tokido. But at this level, at this amount of dominance, right after Tokido's victory, right after Tokido said that he studied this cat, that he had modeled his Urian after him, he was not ready for the likes of Shuto. He was ready for Urian, but he wasn't ready for the likes of Shuto, who had put in so much work with this character. We even saw it last time that Shuto came up to the bat. He said, I had put in so much work against Luke, I wanted to cry. He said, I've been fighting this character so much, I wanted to just break down. But he has broken down the competition. He has fought so many Lukes, and he has found a playstyle that is so effective at keeping them out of the light punch, medium punch range. It's not strange to see him win, but however, at this dominance, sheesh.
Yeah, that's the right word for it. Sheer and utter dominance from the side of Shuto. I think there's a lot to be said too in regards to how he was playing towards the end of that round. You can see his confidence. He was kind of strutting back and forth before the last sequence that Tokido had off of like the clean hit into EX Flash Knuckle. Shuto has this kind of strut about him where he's feeling confident. You can kind of see it where he kind of moves forward a little bit more liberally. He'll kind of like walk back and forth and kind of tease the ideas like, all right, I'll let you hit me kind of thing, instead of firing back with normals like he usually does. He's not playing the counter poke game. That's when I said it too. I was just like, uh-oh. Like I was leading into it. I was like, uh-oh. When Shuto feels himself in that regard, like danger is coming. And I'm not going to be the one who answers the door. In fact, I'm going to be the neighbor peeking through the window and telling you about all the action at next week's meeting. But yeah, Shuto, again, 3 games straight. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
What's the winning interview right now? The team saying, Mochi, hopefully you're watching, enjoying this action. We again said Mochi is out. Hopefully he's feeling okay. Hopefully everything's okay with him. But this is definitely a thing for Mochi. Hopefully to be watching and cheering on his team. That's definitely a great W to be watching from the sidelines, as it was so dominant here for Shuto. And for the rest of the team, doing really well overall too. Saishun Kumamoto getting the revenge against FAV. Previously it was FAV's win, but man, are they going to switch up the positioning in terms of the rankings in 30 points today? I do feel like that, Shuto definitely has had a target on his back, but that hasn't deterred him in his victories. It hasn't deterred him how he's played. And I gotta say, like, you can watch somebody and say this person is a beast, but being prepared for them is a whole nother level. And Tokido, even though I said Tokido was not ready, man. Higuchi saying that he's glad that his team had won, or glad that he had won, I should say. Having that victory, that flash kick at the end. Again, that young man strut that you had pointed out, we saw from Shuto. We saw that EX flash kick with the reactions and reads right there. That just takes that young man mentality right there, confidence.
Yeah, there's a lot of preparation in regards to the matchup. I think Higuchi going up against Manat, we talked about this earlier. I think that was just a great strategy overall from Saishun Kansou Kumamoto, having that plan. Despite not having YHC Mochi, they still had the right plan to succeed against that matchup. And I gotta say, that was very convincing too from Higuchi towards the end. I think there was a very big mistake that Sako had made, and it cost him pretty much the entirety of the matchup, just utilizing that critical art in a very awkward moment to punish a Sonic Boom while at like what, 15% or less, while Guile had near like 80, 75. Like that was a rough call out. I don't know what it could have been. Sakonoko may have been a little bit too chill in that regard, but I get it. I mean, sometimes you want to react to stuff. Like, I totally understand it, but even afterwards, you had a full V trigger. You had a full V trigger, and you got thrown. We'll talk about that in the replay for sure. But it was very perplexing to me. Shuto versus Tokido, even more so. This kind of like surprised me more than it did perplex me. I'm gonna say it again. 3 games straight against someone like Tokido, that's a pretty big deal. But it also brings up the point that Tokido may not have the best Luke in the business to shake somebody up like Shuto.
I mean, we already saw him dominate Mago, and I think Mago's up there in contention, obviously, in top tier of Luke's when he's on his day. But man, it's just the readiness and preparedness of Shuto. I can't get over. I definitely have to watch that one back. Shuto saying, I knew this game was gonna be a tough one, so it was hard for him to believe lately. All he was thinking about is this game. All he was thinking about is this match. And he stopped thinking about the points. He just concentrated on the game, and I like that. He concentrated on what was in front of him to get his win. He definitely was able to do so. I love that. Just what you see in front of you, everything else later on. You worry about that later on.
Yeah, I think that's a sign of very strong pro mentality, not having to be distracted of whatever the format is. They have to focus on their duty in the game, and I gotta say that's really such an impressive thing to say for such a young age. I mean, a lot of players kind of get a little bit sidetracked, right? But taking a look at the stats, he was not. Like, you know, a couple of donuts all across the board, but majority of the time, it's just been Shuto in control, so he hasn't really had much time to really put up stats on the board like that. So, on the other hand, we see Tokido, his stats, not being able to take away any sort of W's for him. You can see it, man. We have been talking about it pretty much for the last 10 minutes. An unprecedented result for Sai Shunkan Sol Kumamoto, specifically in the anchor position, 30-10. That is going to be a very significant boost going into playoff contention.
Absolutely, man. That is just shows you how strong these young cats are, and with this game being able to rise to the cream of the crop at the top. And man, I'm flabbergasted at how good he was up in that match. But we'll break it down a little bit with it. The whole team did fantastic. Even though Nemo's guild maybe wasn't up to par, Higuchi being able to take that second match against like the Sako. Then we see obviously Shuto rounding it out, getting that victory. The previous winners of last league, the previous winners of Street Fighter League Japan, not being able to take the victory shows you how close everything is in terms of these matches, in terms of the points, and in terms of the competition. And that means every match has been super sick with it. I love this year of this league for that reason. Now let's take a look at how Nemo got absolutely cleaned up and clattered in this match. Unfortunately, was not able to get going and flown with that V-trigger, which I feel like is one of the best things about Gil. You know, having that V-trigger to be able to access the damage is great if you can land those hits. It wasn't able to do it because Bonchan just disallowed that continuously. Caught the dash-ins, caught him with these fantastic situations where he cashed out with Super, with the CA that we see right here, and just disallowed the fireball game. He was in the corner, didn't really have many ways to reverse, didn't go for any V-reverse, things like that, and then it was just an easy wrap. Stocks up with the V-skill, post-stun fun, easy win right here for Bonchan, 2-0 over Nemo.
Taking a look at the following matchup, Higuchi versus Sakonoko. We talk about some of the big errors that were possible, that happened from Sakonoko. But that V-trigger punish, by the way, was absolutely phenomenal against the Sonic Boom. That was so smart, right? Having the orb clash against the Sonic Boom to clear out the way for the punish on the recovery was so smart. But Higuchi completely unfazed by it, being able to play the old man strategy and play the time over game, and also catching a lot of mistakes from Sakonoko, right? A lot of the V-reversals were absolutely punished, but it goes to Sakonoko a couple of times over, right? Being able to have some of the defense with orbs kind of prevailed, but also the offense more impressively. Higuchi Sakonoko not able to stop the pressure from Higuchi. That was also pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. I love seeing that kind of anti-air strategy from Sakonoko with the orbs. He's absolutely ready for it, but let's take a look at what happens here, right? He had dropped the combo earlier. Oh, we're just going to zoom right past it. But this is that moment, right, where he EX flash kicked past the orbs. The reactions and the reads were just super on point.
It was also on point. Shuto taking it 3-0 over a Wood Warrior champion. The most stacked Wood Warrior event. Tokido just was hot off his victory, but Shuto with the awareness to get the sweep right there off the extension to get that win, and just dominated that mid-range gameplay off those mediums. Even though they had been whip punished every so often, it wasn't enough to deter him from utilizing those buttons at the right range and utilize that V-bar very correctly. A lot of the V-reversals, V-shifts, and things like that to stay away from danger and get punishes, Tokido just couldn't get anything going. And at that time, winding down, all he could do, as you pointed out, was the EXDP coming through, but easily bait and punish. Shuto just dominating this neutral and doing a good job of doubling out damage when need be. Utilizing 2 bars to stay optimal 2 as well. And this was the last situation that Tokido had to hold. And unfortunately, we all guess wrong every so often. But today, either way, I think Shuto would have played and took that W. Either way, he was so dominant, ready for that match. And I think people have to be ready for Shuto and that Urian coming through, especially if he makes it to the World Warrior event and takes the W, because he is going to be qualified.
That's true. Man, we have to see these guys play again this weekend, but even more so, we get to see them play before the weekend even happens, right? We still have a Friday morning, or at least Friday in general, set of matches to play for Street Fighter League. Really, that's something to look forward to. That's the beginning of week 13. But as it stands for this week's in totality, all the home team players, or majority of the home team players, got their W in very convincing fashion, 30-10. And the only time we saw a little bit of a differential there, or sorry, a little bit of an outlier, is 20-25. That tiebreaker happening between Gyogun and Kamufan Detonation, leading into Detonation's win. Taking a look at the points, man, it is such a close race. But one thing that's changed up, Good 8 Squad is now within earshot of Shinobiism Gaming by 30 points. Looking at the tie between Nagoya Ojo Body Star and Saishun Kansou Kumoto 290. V6 Plus FAV Gaming just increasing the gap just by 10 points against Gyogun. And down below, Detonation and Team Ikuza at the very bottom. Detonation still has a chance. I think they still have a chance if my math is correct. Team Ikuza, well, at the moment, they're looking to have fun, sell some of that merch, and also shave some points away for the teams.
Absolutely. You know, they're still trying to play spoiler out here, and Team Detonation will definitely do so too if they are out of the competition, which they probably might be unless everyone plays horribly. But we'll have to see who's going to get that victory. We'll see who's going to be in those top 5 spots as they are still in close contention. Saishun Kansou Kumoto tied up with Oja Body Star once again. As I put out previously, everything is so close, and it feels like it's even closer than the previous season. We may not even have the previous season winner make it through the finals. We may not even see them at the playoffs at all that are happening at the end of December. And maybe a little bit later on if you don't get those tickets. But either way, we're still going to showcase that for all of you as we get to the grand finale, the last dance at Capcom Cup to see who has the strongest team, US versus EU versus Japan. That's going to be super sick. But we still have more games to play out here at Street Fighter League Japan.
There's been so much more to look forward to week in, week out, pretty much 2 times a week, man. I got to say, my fill of Street Fighter V has been on pretty much like on all servings, right? There's been so many different requests from everybody to look for more Street Fighter V. Well, guess what, man? You have it. You have CPTs, you have World Warriors from different regions, you have Street Fighter Leagues from different regions as well. This is going to be a very, very important time for Street Fighter fans across the world, because this is going to be like it's just a taste of what's coming up for Street Fighter 6 potentially, right? I would love to see all this implemented into future games. But taking a look at the graphs right now, the big fluctuations I would say would be from maybe from Gyogun, right? They had a pretty impressive spot, but they're actually in the spotlight now to try to make playoffs, considering they're in 6th place currently. That's going to be very difficult to even break through right now, but they do have the potential to do it next week.
They do. We'll see them going up against Good 8 Squad as the second match. But the match before that was going to be Ojo Body Star versus Team Itsuka. Again, Itsuka playing spoiler to all these teams, trying to take as many points away as possible. But it's going to be difficult to do so because Oja is doing a fantastic job in the qualification zone, but they may be knocked down in all those positioning matter. It matters where you are seated, where you stand in, so you want to get as many wins as possible. Again, Team Itsuka may play spoiler to that. And then we get Good 8 Squad again up on the deck against Gyogun. Gyogun trying to claw their way up, I should say stream their way up all the way to the top. I can't wait to see who's going to take that victory, because it could be anybody's game out here.
And they got to face off against the #1 seed. Man, that's going to be pretty tough, right? All things considered, though, Good 8 Squad didn't have the performance they were looking for this week, or at least today. Maybe they'll have their revenge play against Gyogun. Gyogun needs to come with it. They need to 100% be prepared for what's to come against Good 8 Squad, because if it isn't going to be now, how would you be ready for it in the playoffs? So a lot to really consider here. And also, be sure to mark your calendars as well, because we're only a couple more weeks away from playoffs. Again, St. Cola had briefly mentioned this. December 29th is when the playoffs are going to be happening that lead into the January Grand Finals. You do not want to miss that. I highly encourage you guys to make some space for us just after the holiday season, or I guess technically in between the holiday season from one into the next. So with that in mind, take a look at it. Just 2 more weeks left. Man, I remember when that graphic was filled to the brim, St. Cola.
It was huge. You had all these teams coming through, but now we got down to the nitty-gritty, getting down to the finale, getting closer and closer to the playoffs, I should say, and the grand finale out here in Japan. But that's not it. We're going to see who's the best in all the land, but we still have more games to play, more action coming your way this week. Make sure you stay tuned and stay seated. Make sure you're locked in on all the Capcom channels, and we'll see you in the streets. Have a good night.
第12節 Day2 は以上とさせていただきます。解説はハメコさん、実況は私大和修平でお送りいたしました。次回の第13節でお会いいたしましょう。さようなら。
ブラボー。